and a very warm welcome to WsCube Tech. My name is Ayushi Jain and this is the part 2 of our Python programs playlist. In this video, we will be solving more complex problems so that we can build our logics even more and prepare ourselves for the interview. So let's get started, guys. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow you to access the index of a list using a for loop. So guys, accessing an index of a list over here means, suppose if you have a list of 4 elements, so what it wants that your first element should be there. Along with it, in front of it, we should have the index. Suppose on 0, we have, let's say, any name over here, for example, John. And number 1, we have Lisa. Number 2, we have Peter. Number 3, we have David. So in this way, I want a output. Okay. Now this could be done with 2 methods over here. The first method would be using the enumerate method and the second one would be without using the enumerate method. So let's have a look on both of them one by one. So let's start with the first one where we will be using the enumerate method. Now what does this enumerate method means over here is that enumerate here creates a tuple of 0 and that means the index and the value over here. Okay. So for example, if I have a list is equals to, and I have some elements over here. So let's consider an example over here. Suppose I have a list over here of a few elements. So I have Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and Captain America. Okay. Now what do I need to do? I need to access the elements of this list by the index. How it can be done? I'll be using the enumerate method and using a for loop over here. That means for. Now I will be needing 2 things over here, that is the index and the value. So for index, comma, value in enumerate, what do we need to enumerate? The list, that means the list L over here. And we need to print what? The index and the value. So index, comma, value. Let's run and see what output we will get over here. So you can see I am getting the 0 index. On 0 index I have Iron Man. On 1 index we have Thor. On 2 we have Hulk. And on number 3 we have Captain America. So this is how we are getting the values. So enumerate method over here is creating a tuple where the values over here are these values and the index over here are the indexes of each element. So guys, this was our enumerate method. Let's talk about our solution number 2 where we will not be using the enumerate method but we will be just using the for loop. So for the second method, again, I'll consider the example of similar list over here. Now, how to access the index over here is very simple, that I'll use a for loop that for index in range of len of L. Okay, that means what I'm saying right now, if I right now print index, it would give me 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 3 elements are there, so 0, 1, 2, 3. 4 elements are there, so 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this index is carrying what? 0, 1, 2, 3. But I want the values. For values, what I'll be doing, I'll be writing that value is equals to, now how we can access the value by writing L and in the brackets I'll pass the index. That means suppose if I put everything in a comment right now and just print L and in the square brackets if I write 3, I'll get the last element over here, that is the Captain America, right? So if I want to get all the indexes, that means all the values over here, for that what we will be doing, we will be writing value is equals to, same again the name of the list, and in the brackets we will pass the index. Index is what? 0, 1, 2, 3 that we have seen before. That in the index we have 0, 1, 2 and 3. And every time after every iteration the value will change over here and it will print us what? It should print us index and value over here. Let me just comment it. Now if I run it, it will give me, let's remove this Captain America from here. That means let me just put this thing in a comment. This was just to explain you. And as soon as I run it again, I'll get the values like this, that the index over here is 0 and the value is Iron Man. Index over here is 1, value is Thor. Index over here is 2 and the value is Hulk. And on index number 3, we have Captain America. So this is how, with the help of our enumerate method or without help of our enumerate method, we can access the index of a list. Video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to slice a list. Now what is list slicing over here? Suppose if we have a list of 4 to 5 elements and we want to obtain a small part of it, then we do slicing over this. Slicing over here means that we cut the list into a smaller part. Now let's have a look on how this can be done. So guys, to understand list slicing, I have already created a list over here in which I have 6 elements, that is Joey, Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, Ross and Chandler. Now what do I need to do? With the help of slicing, I need to cut down a small part of it. Suppose if I want to cut down the starting 2 values over here. For that, what do we do? Okay, let's understand slicing first with the help of a logic over here. So suppose I have a list over here of 5 to 6 elements. Suppose I have 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 and 8. Okay. And I want to slice 1, 2 and 3. Now how the slicing can be done? We write the name of the list, that is, let's say L. So L, and in the square bracket, what do we write? We write the starting value. We put a colon and we write the ending value plus 1. So suppose your indexing is ending over here. So we write the index number. We never write the values over here. We write the index numbers over here, that in the slicing we use the index number. So index number over here works like that. On number 0 we have, that means on index number 0 we have 1, on index number 1 we have 2, on index number 2 we have 3, on index number 3 we have 6, on index number 4 we have 7, and on index number 5 we have 8. Okay, this is how indexing is done. So what do we need to do? We need to write the starting value, we need to write the ending value, plus we need to write the step in between. Okay, that what is the step in between? If the step is 1, then we can keep it as default and we don't need to write anything. But for the starting value and the ending value, we need to provide the values. Suppose we want to fetch 1, 2 and 3. In that case, what you can do? You can write L and the square brackets. So the starting value is 0 and the ending value over here is 0, 1 and 2. But we don't write 2, we write ending value plus 1, that is 3. And as soon as we write it, we'll get the output 1, 2 and 3 over here. Okay. Now one more thing about the starting value. Suppose if you're starting from all the way starting, then you don't need to write the starting value as well. You can just leave it empty and you can write colon and 3. Same works for the ending values. That suppose you're starting from number 3 and if you want to go all the way towards the end, like you want to start from number 3, that is 6, 7 and 8. If you want to obtain 6, 7 and 8, then you will write 3 colon and you will not give any ending value over here. You will keep it as default. Okay. For this step, it works the same way, that if you don't want to give any step, that means you want it to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In that case, you don't give any step. But if you want to, if you want the indexes to go like that, first element should be there, then third element should be there, then fifth element should be there. That means there should be a gap of number 2 over here. So in that case, what do? You keep put another column and you write 2 over here. Okay. So let's apply this method over here in our Python. So what I'll be doing, I'll be writing print. So if I just want to get the 2 elements, that is Monica and Rachel over here, for that I'll be writing L and the square bracket, the value over here is 0, 1. So I'll be writing 1 over here and it ends on, so the name of the list is not L, it's A, so that's why it's throwing an error. So 1 and it's ending on number 2, but we write the ending value plus 1, that's why we'll be writing 3. And as soon as we run it, I'll get the output Rachel and Monica. So I have obtained a small list from a huge list, that is called as slicing over here. That is the slicing of the list, that you obtain a small part from a big list. Okay. Now suppose if I want to obtain any other part, let's say I want to obtain Phoebe, Ross and Chandler. Okay. For that, what I'll be doing, the Phoebe is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3. So starting value is 3. So I'll be writing print A. In the square bracket, I'll be giving 3 and it will go up to the end. That's why I'll just put a colon and not write any value. And if I run it, I'll get the output Phoebe, Ross and Chandler. That means if you want to go all the way towards the end, in that case, you don't have to write any value over here. Same works for the starting values, that I want the first 3 values. That is Joey, Rachel and Monica. In that case, I'll be writing A. In the square bracket, I'll not write any value. So starting value, I'm not defining any starting value. But yes, I'm defining the ending value over here. That is 3. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the first 3 elements. That is Joey, Rachel and Monica. Similarly, if you want to give a gap in between, suppose if I want print A and I want it to start from all the way starting and it should go from all the way towards the end. In that case, I'll be giving a square brackets, put colons, that I'm not defining any starting value, I'm not defining any ending value, but I'm telling that the gap is of 2 over here. That means the first element should come, then second element should not come, then third element should come, fourth element should not come, then fifth element should come. So in that case, if I run it, it will give me Joey, it will not give me Rachel, then Monica, not Phoebe, then Ross and not Chandler. Okay. So this is how the gap works. The gap can also work with the gap of 3. So any gap you want to put. So if you want to write the first element and then you want to write the third element, that is you want to give a gap of 3, that is Joey. After Joey you want to write only Phoebe. So let's run and see what output we'll get. So we'll get Joey and Phoebe over here, that there is a gap of 3 in between. Similarly, you can write the reverse of it as well. For writing the reverse of it, all you need to do is write A. And we'll be writing the reverse of the whole list. That's why I'm not defining the starting value, not defining the ending value, but I'll write -1 over here. So as soon as I write -1 and run it, it will give me the reverse of the whole list. That is, the starting value was Joey, which is now in the end. Second value is Rachel, which is now in the last second. Third value is Monica, which is on last third. And over here, the last value is Chandler, which is on number 1 in our output. That means we have obtained the reverse of our list. So this is how, guys, slicing works. And I hope you guys have no doubts in the questions. This video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to iterate over dictionaries using a for loop. Now guys, this iteration can be done in the dictionaries with the help of 3 methods. We can use .items, we can iterate with the help of the keys, and we can also iterate with the help of keys and values. We'll be looking at all the 3 solutions one by one. First of all, talking about the first solution, that is with the help of using .items. So guys, I have already created a dictionary over here in which we have friends. In the friends we have Rachel and Ross. Rachel is the key and Ross is the value. Monica is the key, Chandler is the value. Phoebe is the key and Joey is the value. And if I print it, let's see what is the output that we are getting. So we are getting the output in the format of a dictionary over here. Now what I need to do, I need to iterate over these values. That means with the help of the for loop, I need to obtain each value over here. So how to obtain each value in a single line? That means each key value pair in a single line. For that, I'll be using for key, comma, value in friends dot items. So we'll be using dot items over here. And I'll put a colon. What do we need to print? We need to print key. And if you want to put a hyphen in between, you can put a hyphen in between. So for the hyphen, you can write a dash and value. So key value is nothing but just the variables that I have taken over here. You can write X and Y also over here, or A or B. Anything that you want to write, you can write over here. So you can now see that the key value pairs, that means we had Rachel and Ross, that was a 1 pair, is now converted into 2 different values over here in one single line. Okay. So keys over here are on the left hand side and the values over here on the right hand side. This is how iteration can be done with the help of .items. .items take 2 variables over here. Suppose if I would have only written key and I would have not written this thing as well, just the key. And if I run it, it would create me a tuple over here of Rachel and Rose. But because I want to iterate on both of them, in that case, what I need to do, I'll need to put a value. And here also I need to put a value. In that case, it will give me both the elements. That means we will not receive a tuple anymore. We will just receive the name and the element. That means the key and the value over here. That is the use of .items. Now let's talk about our solution number 2, where we will be using the keys method. I'll just put this previous code inside the brackets and solution 2 with keys. That means with the help of keys over here, we'll be iterating. So again, I'll be taking a variable called as for I in. So name of the dictionary is friends.keys. So we'll be iterating inside the keys. And I'll put a colon. And what do we need to print? We need to print the keys. So if I print keys, or for the keys we have I, right? So if I print I, it will only give me the keys over here. But I don't want the keys, I want the values as well. So for the values, how to obtain a value? So if I want to obtain a value, what do? In general, if I want to obtain a value in a dictionary, in that case, what do? We write print. We write the name of the dictionary, and in the square bracket we pass the name of the key whose value we want to find. So suppose if I want to find the value of Rachel, and if I run it, so I'll get the output Ross on the top, that is the value of Rachel. Okay. Now same thing if I want to do over here, that means I want friends, and instead of key, what I'll be putting I over here. So I can write print I, comma, friends is the name of the dictionary, and to get the value over here, I'll be writing I. That means we'll be getting the keys over here, and for the values, we'll be writing I. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the output in this way, that Rachel, Ross, Monica, Chandler, Phoebe, Joey. This is how we get the output, that now we don't only have the keys but also we have the values. Now again I'll put this inside the comments. And let's talk about our solution number 3, where we will be using the keys and the values both method. So solution number 3 using keys and values, how would this one work? We'll be using two different for loops. First we'll iterate inside the keys, and secondly we will iterate inside the values. So for I in friends dot keys colon print I, and for j, or if you want to write any other thing, let's suppose you want to write values as well, so for values in friends dot values colon print values. So we are iterating in the keys and also we are iterating in the values. So let's run and see what output we are getting over here. So after running, we are getting first of all the 3 keys, that is Rachel, Monica and Phoebe, and then the 3 values, that is Ross, Chandler and Joey. So I hope guys that all the 3 methods over here are clear to you, that with the help of dot items we got both the values in the form of a tuple, then inside the tuple we have iterated it and we have got the values separately but not in the form of a tuple. Okay. Second method over here was with the help of dot keys, where we use the keys and to access the values we have written the name of the dictionary. Inside that we have passed the values of the keys. That means we have written down the keys and then we have received the values. Nextly, in the solution number 3, we have keys and values. That means we will be iterating inside the keys and we will be iterating inside the values and we'll get the output. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to sort our values inside a dictionary. So guys, we know what a dictionary is. Now what we need to do, we need to sort the values over here. Based on values, we need to sort the whole dictionary. Now let's understand it. What I'm trying to say is, suppose if we have a dictionary which has key value and key value. And if we want to sort the whole dictionary based on the values, for example, there are 3 students who have 3 different marks. And the keys over here are the name of the students and the values over here are the numbers, that means marks of the student. Now I don't want to sort them on the base of their names, but I want to sort them on the basis of their marks. So how we will be doing that? We will be learning that in this video. There are 2 methods by which we will be doing that. First method is going to be with the help of the anonymous function, and second method would be by using our dictionary functions. So let's have a look on how it can be done. So our first solution over 1 here is sort the dictionary based on their values. So for that, I'll be first creating a dictionary. So I'll be creating dict is equals to, and here I'll be passing, as I said, I'll be taking the example of 3 students who have 3 different marks. So I'm taking first example as Peter. So I'll be writing Peter here, who has got, let's say, 98 marks. After this, our second student would be, let's say, Lisa, who has scored 90 marks. And lastly, our third student over here would be David, who had scored 87 marks. Okay, and if I print it right now, let's have a look on how it looks like. So I'll be writing print dictionary and let's run it. So as soon as we run it, we'll get the output that we have Peter who has 98 marks, Lisa who has 90 marks and David who has 87 marks. Now what we need to do over here is we need to sort this on the basis of their values over here. That means according to values, David should come first in the ascending order. Sorting means we have to arrange them in the ascending order. Okay. So if we want to sort the dictionary items over here, for that we will be simply writing print, or we can create another variable over here, that is, let's say sv. Sv is equals to, and I'll be writing sorted. For inside the sorted, I'll be writing dictionary and dictionary dot items, open close the parentheses. Let's see right now what we are getting output over here. So right now we are not getting any output because I haven't printed it yet. So let's print the sv as well. Now as soon as I run it, I'll get the output which looks like this, that we have David, Lisa and Peter, which has been arranged in the ascending order. So we have David, Lisa and Peter. But we do not want to arrange them in the ascending order based on the keys. We want to arrange them in the ascending order based on their values. For that, what I'll be doing, I'll be defining a function over here that I'll be creating key. Now, what should be the key over here? For that, I'll be writing key is equals to. I'll be taking a function, that means I'll be taking an anonymous function. What is anonymous function? Anonymous function is a temporary function. That means for that, you don't have to create a new function itself. You can just, that means it's a one-liner function over here. So I need lambda x, where what will be the value of x? X will be the number 1 index. Okay, so in the square bracket, I'll pass 1. Now, what is x1 over here? So you can write now what you can see. Now, what is number 1 index over here? Now, you guys must be thinking that in the dictionaries, we do not have indexes, but we do have inside the pair. So we have key value pair, we have key value pair, and we have key value pair. So key is on index number 0. and value is on index number 1 here. So what we'll be doing, we will be sorting them on the basis of values, and as values are on number 1, that's why I'll be passing number 1 here. As soon as I run it now, the values will change in this way, that firstly we'll have David who has 87 marks, Lisa who has 90 marks, and then we will have Peter who has 98 marks. Even if I change the data, for example, if I change this to, or let's say if I change this to John, and now if I run it, still I will get the same output over here. That means it has been sorted on the basis of the values. That means we have 87, 90 and 98. If I talk about the keys over here, first D should come, then J and then L, right? But we are sorting it on the basis of keys over here, so that's why we are getting 87, 90 and 98 in this order. So I hope you guys have no doubts in the questions that how we have sorted this dictionary based on their values. Now let's talk about our another solution. There is second solution by which we can sort only the values. So our solution number 2 is sort only the values. For that, I'll just copy this data and paste it over here, and I'll just put this thing inside the comment. Now what do we need to sort? We need to sort only values. That means we need to only obtain the values. For that, in the dictionary we have a very simple, very easy function that we can simply write print sorted dictionary dot values, open close the parentheses. Now as soon as I run it, the output would be 87, 90 and 98. So we have received the values, they have been sorted as well, and there are only values over here. So there are two methods that we have seen, where first one is that we can sort the whole dictionary based on values, or second method is we can only sort the values here. In this video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to check if a list is empty or not. So in Python this can be achieved by three methods. First method is by using the boolean function. Second method is by using the length function, and thirdly we will be using the empty brackets to check if a list is empty or not. So let's have a look on how it can be done. First of all, talking about our first solution, that is the boolean function. To use boolean operation, first of all let's understand the simple logic that if I write print bool and inside the parentheses if I pass the empty brackets over here, it would give me false. Why it will give me false? Let me run this. So yes, it will give me false. Why it is giving me false over here? Because it says that if a list is empty, the boolean will give us false. But if there are any elements, suppose if it is 4 and something like this, if there are any elements over here, it will give us true. Even if there is only one single element over here, it will give us true. Okay. So by using this logic, what we will be doing, I'll be creating a list. So ML, or you can call it as my list. My list is equals to an empty list over here. And after this, I'll be giving a conditional statement that if not my list. So here not is working as a boolean operation, that it is giving us a false over here. So if not my list, in that condition print the list is empty. So now if I run it, it will give me the list is empty. At the same time, if I write anything over here, it will not give me anything because we have not written that what would happen if it is not false. Okay. So condition is very simple, that we will write if not my list. That means we are checking for the boolean operation over here, that if it gives us false, if this condition gives us false, in that condition print the list is empty. So guys, this was our method number 1. Now let's talk about our solution number 2, where we will be using the length function. To use the length function, first of all I need to do is write my list again. So I'll be writing my list is equals to an empty list over here, and as soon as I print len of my list, so the output over here would be 0. If there were any elements, suppose I would have written 12, 4, 5, 9 or 8. So as soon as I run it, it will give me an output that there are 4 elements over here. Okay, now what I need to do, I just need to write my list, and after that I need to give a conditional statement that if my list is, if length of my list, that means if len of my list is equal to 0, in that condition print the list is empty. So if I run it, it won't print anything because the length is not 0 right now. As soon as I remove these elements and run it again, it will print the list is empty. That means our length function is working here properly. So length function is making sure that how many elements are there. So if the number of elements inside the list are 0, then it would print that the list is empty. Moving ahead to our solution number 3, which is using the square brackets, that means the empty square brackets. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So solution 3 using square brackets, that means again I'll create a variable called as my list. Inside that I'll be passing the list elements and I'll be writing if my list is equals to empty brackets, in that condition print the list is empty. So here the empty square brackets are telling us that the list is empty, and as soon as we run it, it will give us the list is empty. If there were any elements over here, suppose if I would have written 12 and would have run it, then in that case no output would have appeared. But because we have now no element over here, it would print the list is empty. So I hope guys all the three solutions are clear to you. Our solution 1 was with the help of the boolean operation. Second solution is with the help of the length function, and thirdly we have used the square bracket, that means the empty square brackets, to check if a list is empty or not. In this video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to handle multiple exceptions in one line. First of all, talking about exceptions, what are exceptions in Python? When we make mistakes in our program, those mistakes are called as errors. Now these errors cannot be corrected. There are two types of errors. First errors over here are syntactic errors which cannot be handled, and the second type of errors are called as logical errors which can be handled. So in this program, we will be learning how to handle two logical errors in one line. So let's have a look on how it can be done. So what I'm going to do over here to handle these errors is, first of all, I will generate a position where an error would occur. So I'll be writing string is equals to input, enter something here. After this, I'll be creating another variable, that is number. Number is equals to int. That means I'll be taking the input in the integers and I'll write enter a number here. So even though I have written enter a number here, people might make a mistake and write ONE1, or they write it in the form of a decimal number. So that would be an error over here. And the second error would be that if I'll write print number or print string, and I will try to concatenate string with the number. Okay. So as soon as I run it, and after this let's print a statement as well. Let's say I'll write print thank you. Okay. As soon as I run it, what would happen if it says enter something here? So I'll write hello, and it says enter a number here. So I'll write 12. First of all, it will throw me an error that string and number cannot be concatenated. That will be our type error. That means there is a type error over here, and it is not executing the next part of the code, which is what? Which is thank you, right? Thank you, no, it's just thank you. Okay, this is our first error, that is type error. Let's talk about our second error that might occur over here. So as soon as I again run it, it says enter something here. So I'll write hello, and here it says enter a number. I'll write ONE1. So it would say there is a value error. What value error it is? That only an integer can be written over here. Not a string, not a floating number, but just the integer. Okay. So now how to handle both of these errors and how to make this print thank you statement work. To do that, what we will be doing, we will be putting this code inside try and except. That means we will be handling both of the errors by using the method of try and except. So inside the try statement, what we will do, we will write the code in which the error might occur. So I'll be writing try colon, and everything over here will be shifted inside the try. Okay, so inside the try, what I have written, the code that might generate the error, that code is written inside the try statement. So inside our except statement, what we'll be doing, inside the except statement, I'll be creating a tuple of both the types of error, that is the value error and the type error, and create an alias called as a, and I'll print a. That will create a, so this print a will create a auto generated message as soon as I run it. Now if I write hello, and if I write 12 over here, so we cannot concatenate string with the integer. As soon as I print enter, it will say can only concatenate string, not integer, to string. That means it is generating a message over here that there is an error in what you have written, but it is not stopping my program. My program is working over here and it is moving to our next part of the program, right? Similarly, let's try to make another kind of error. So if I run it, write something here, so I'll write hello and I will write ONE1. So it would say invalid literal for int base 10 1. Thank you. That means that here again the error is not generated. Error is there, but that has been handled by this statement, that invalid literal for int. That means we have to write what? We have to write an integer over here, and then our code is moving to the next line. So I hope guys that how to handle multiple exceptions is clear. First of all you need to do is create a situation where an error might occur. That means where multiple errors might occur. and the code in which the error might occur, you need to put it inside the try statement. In the except statement, we will be handling both the types of or multiple types of errors, whatever errors might occur in the code, and then we'll be creating an alias and print that alias over here so that it would create an auto-generated message and it would print that, and our code will continue. It won't stop at a certain position. In this video, we will learn how to write a program in Python that will allow us to copy a file. So guys, to copy a file in Python, we have a very simple module, very easy module in Python. Python provides us with a lot of modules, and we have a shuttle module over here. Shuttle is a module that allows us to copy, create, or remotely work on a file. It is one of the Python standards utility module. It allows us to automate the process of copying a file or moving off a file or directories. Okay, now how does this shuttle module works? Let's have a look on that. To use a shuttle module over here, and from our shuttle module, we will be calling our copy file attribute, and I'll be writing import or from shuttle import copy file, from shuttle import copy file, and I'll be writing copy file. Inside the copy file, you need to write two parameters over here. First parameter would be the file which we need to copy, and the second parameter would be the designation file. That means the file where we need to send the data. So first of all, I'll just show you. I'll open this folder over here, and I have two text files, that is demo.txt. Inside the demo.txt, it has been written, hello everyone, this is my demo file, I hope you all like it. And I have file.txt in which there is no text inside it. So we have two files. In the demo.txt we have a text, and in the file.txt we don't have any text at all. So what we need to do over here is we need to first give the location. To give the location, I'll just copy from here, or you can go to properties of this file and copy the location. For copying the location, you can just go to location, copy this data, come back to our PyCharm, paste this data, and paste this data inside the double quotations. Now all the backward slashes will be converted into the forward slashes, and after desktop we have many programs. So instead, let's take it from here. So I'll copy the location from here and paste it and remove this part, put a forward slash, another forward slash, and now I'll write the name of our file. For the name of our file, again I'll go back, and you can right click on demo.txt properties, and you can see demo.txt is the name of the file. So you can copy from here, go back here and paste it. Now this is our first file, that is, this is our first parameter, that from which file we have to copy. After this, I'll put a comma and write the destination, that means location of our destination file, that in which file we need to copy it. For that, I'll again go to my folders. Here we have file.txt. Again, let's copy the location. Let's come back here again, paste it inside the double quotations, convert all the backward slashes to forward slashes, and here we will write the name of the file, that is file.txt. Okay, once we have done it, let's run and see what happens. As soon as I run, nothing would happen over here. Okay, I have run some other files. I'll just run it again, and nothing would happen over here. But if I go back and let me just close both of these files. So if I go back to my programs, to my folder, here, if I open my file.txt, let's see what happens here. So you will see that the data which was written in our demo.txt file has now been copied to our file.txt, and our program, that means, is working over here. So in just 2 lines, we have created a program that will allow us to automate the process of copying a file. That means we don't have to create any loops over here, and we don't need to read the files, or we don't need to perform anything over here. We just need to call our shuttle module, and from shuttle module we'll be using copy file. Inside the copy file, we'll be passing the 2 parameters, and our work is done over here. Video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to concatenate 2 lists. Now, what is concatenating? When we have 2 lists and we want to merge those 2 lists into a single list, then that method is called as concatenating. Concatenating means addition of one list into another list. Now, how it can be done in Python? In Python, there are 3 methods in which we can do this. The first method over here says we use the plus operator. The second method over here says that we use the methods of set. That means we will find the unique values inside the 2 lists and we will merge them. And the third method over here uses the extend function of the list. So let's have a look on all 3 of them one by one. First of all, talking about our first method, that is using the plus operator, let's have a look on how it can be done. So here guys, I have already created two lists. I have L1 in which we have 6 elements, that is 3, 6, A, 2, A and J. And I have list 2, that is L2, where we have 5 elements, that is 3, 6, K, F and J. Now what do I need to do? I need to use a list 3 over here, that I'll be creating a list 3 variable. Inside this list 3, I'll be writing L1 plus L2. This is my plus operator, that here I'm using plus operator to concatenate it. And if I'll print L3, let's have a look on what we will receive in our output. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the output 36 A2 AJ 36 KFJ. That means all the elements of list 1 plus all the elements of list 2. Now what is happening over here is that we are also receiving the multiple values if they are duplicates. Now how to avoid obtaining duplicate values is using the sets. Our set says that if there are duplicate values, it will not print the duplicate values and only show the unique values inside the set. How it can be done? Let's have a look. So I'll be putting our code above inside the comments. Plus I'll take both to list over here. So our second solution is with unique values. Now how to fetch the unique values here? We will be writing L3. L3 is equals to set of L1 plus L2. So I'll be writing L1 plus L2. Let's run and see what output we'll obtain here. As soon as I run it, nothing will happen because we have not printed it yet. So we'll be writing print L3 and let's have a look again. Now again, as soon as I run it, I'll receive the output 2, 3, K, 6, 8, J, F, A. That means all the unique values that are there, we'll be receiving all of them. So 3 is there, yes. 6 is also there, yes. 8 is also there. 2 is also there. 3 and 6 are coming 2 times. Still over here, it's coming 1 time. But what we are receiving right now is a set, right? How to convert it to a list? To convert it to a list, I'll be putting this inside the brackets. And in front of it, I'll be writing list. So let's run it again and let's see what outcome we'll get. So as soon as I run it, now this is converted into a list. As you can see, there are square brackets now. Previously, there was curly brackets, which was denoting it was a set. And now as soon as we have written list over here, it is now converted to a list. So this is our second method where we can obtain the unique values. With the help of our first method, we were obtaining the values and the duplicate values as well. While with our second methods, we are only getting the unique values. Talking about our third method, that is the extend method. Let's have a look on how extend function works. So our extend method, what does extend function says over here? That if you have L1 and you write L1 dot extend L2, then in that way, what would happen inside your L1, the L2 will get extended. That means you don't need to create another list over here. In your existing list, a new list will be added. How to make that happen is write L1 dot extend. Inside the parentheses, we will pass L2. Now let's print L1 because we have extended this inside L1. So we will be writing L1 and as soon as we run it, we'll be getting the output 3682A J 36KFJ. That means all the elements of list 1 and list 2. Here we are receiving the duplicate elements as well. I will repeat again, to avoid receiving the duplicate elements, you can use the method of sets. Or if you have no problem receiving the duplicate elements, then you can use the method of extend or you can use the plus operator as well. So for the extend method, all you need to do is write L1, that means the list 1, and then dot extend list 2. If you want to extend L1 inside L2, in that case, you will be writing L2 dot extend L1. In this way, what would happen? In your list 2, list 1 will get added. So as soon as I run it again, before that, I just need to convert it to L2. And as soon as I run it again, I'll get the output that first I'll receive what I'll be receiving our L2 list over here, that is 36KFJ, and then L1 over here, that is 3682AJ, which is denoting what? That inside L2 we are adding the list L1. So I hope guys that all the three methods are clear to you and you have no doubts and no questions. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to check if a key is present inside a dictionary or not. First of all, to understand this program, we need to first create a dictionary and then we have to look for a key which is present or not present inside it. Let's have a look on how it can be done. To write this program, first of all, we need to create a dictionary. So I'll be creating a dictionary called as friends. Inside this, I am adding some keys and values. So for our first key is, let's say my first key is Rachel. And its value, the value is written after the colon, so I'll be writing the value as Ross. I'll put a comma to separate this with the next key value pair. My next key over here is Monica and the value is Chandler. again separated by a comma. My next key over here is Joey, and the value is Phoebe. So here we have three key value pairs. First key is Rachel, second key is Monica, and the third key is Joey over here. What do we need to do? We need to check if any key is present inside this dictionary or not. For example, I'm creating a variable called as A, and inside A I'm inserting Janice. Now I want to check that the Janice word is present inside the keys of this dictionary or not. For that, I'll be giving a condition that if A in friends is the name of our dictionary, dot keys. So we have to check that if A is that our word over here, that means this name over here. If this A is in friends dot keys, that means inside the dictionary friends, we will be looking for the keys, and inside the keys, if this word is present, in that case, it will write it is present. As soon as I'll run it, I'll get the output empty because it is not present. Janice is not present, but at the same time, if I would have written Monica and would have run it, it would have given me it is present. So how it is working, that this word, whatever word we have taken in variable A, if it is present in the keys of our dictionary, in that case it would print it is present, else it won't print anything at all. Video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to parse a string into an integer or a float number. So in Python, this could be done by several methods. We will be looking at all of them one by one. First of all, we will be parsing a string into an integer. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So first of all, talking about a string is something which encloses anything, let it be numbers, letters, symbols, or combination of all of them. So here I want to convert a string into an integer. That means I need to take a string in which we only have numbers. So I'll be taking a string that has numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I need to do right now, it is a string. Let's print its type and check it as well. That print type of A. And let's run and see what output we will get here. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the output that it belongs to classes of string. Okay, what do I need to do now? I need to convert it into an integer. And if I print it as well, suppose if I'll print A, it will look like an integer only. That there won't be any double quotations or anything as well. But if you check its type, it would say it is a string. Now, how to convert it into an integer? To convert it into an integer, we have a very simple method that we write A is equals to int A. That means we are converting A into an integer. Now, as soon as I print A and run it, let's see what output we get. There is no change in the output, but what if I check its type? So if I write print type of A, let's run and see what output we'll get now. Now you can clearly see that we are getting an output as integer. That means now after we have applied this operation, it has been converted into an integer. So I'll be writing over here inside the comments that conversion of string to int. Okay. To convert it, all we need to do is write the name of the string is equals to int A. Then that means inside the integer, we will be passing the A string as well to convert it into a string. That means inside A, we will be writing int A. Int over here is telling that this A will be converted into an integer. Let's have a look on second method where we will be converting this string into a float. Now again for our second method, we need to take a string, but this time I'll be taking it in the decimal number. So I can take 123.45. Okay, so 0.45 is telling me that it is a decimal number. If you want, you can take an integer as well. That will also get converted into float by getting the decimals in the end. It would like 12345.0. But if you want, you can take a decimal number already over here. Okay, let's check its type over here. So I'll be writing print type of A. So it will give me the data type of A, and its data type over here would be a string. Okay, and if you print it, so if I print A and run it, I would get 123.45. That means 123.45. Now what do I need to do? I need to convert it into a float. To convert it into a float, again I'll write A, that is our string. A is equals to float, and inside this, what do we want to convert into float? We want to convert this string A into a float, so we'll be passing float A. Now let's print A and see what output we'll get. If we are running it, we are getting the same output, but what if I check its type? So if I write print type of A and run it, I'll get the output that now it has been converted into a float. That means previously it was string. Once we have applied this operation, once we have converted a into a float, it has now become a float. So here I'll be adding inside the comments that conversion of string into a float. Okay. So even if there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of 123.45, let's see what output we would have got. In that case, we would have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the output for string, and as soon as we have converted it into a float, we will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.0. That means it is indicating us that it has now been converted into a float. Now let's have a look on our solution number 3, where we will be parsing a string which has a numeral in the format of a float, and then we'll be converting it into an integer. That means over here, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we would be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and instead of converting it into a float, we will be converting it into an integer. So let's have a look on how it can be done. So our solution number 3 says parse string float numeral into an integer. Now what is string float numeral? That means I will again take a string a is equals to, but inside this I'll pass a value of float, and then it needs to be converted into an integer. So I'll be writing 123.45, and if I write a is equals to, first of all let's print its type. So print type of a, it would give a string, as we can see over here. Now what do we need to do? We need to convert it into an integer. Now how to convert it into an integer? If I'll write directly that a is equals to int a and print type of a, then it would generate an error over here because it is a float number. It cannot directly, because this is a float, right? This is a decimal number. It cannot be directly converted into an integer. So how to avoid that to happen? So what we can do over here is, instead of writing a is equals to int a, first of all we will convert it into a float a. That means it will first become a float. So I'll be writing float a, and as soon as I run it, it will tell me that now it has been converted into a float. Now we will be converting this float into an integer. To convert this float into an integer, we'll be putting a brackets, a set of parentheses over here, and in front of it, we'll be writing int. Now let's run and see what output we'll get. So now you can clearly see that it was previously a string. Now it has been converted into an integer. So steps over here is that if there is a float number inside a string, we need to first convert it into a float, and then we have to convert it into an integer. So I hope guys that all the 3 methods are clear to you. In the first method, we have converted a string into an integer. In our second method, we have converted our string into a float, and in our third method, we have converted our string float numeral into an integer. This video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to parse a string into a DateTime. Now what is parsing a string into a DateTime? Now suppose we have a string and inside it we have written a date in a proper format, and we want to convert the string type into a DateTime type. Then in that case in Python we have 2 methods that would allow us to get the output. Our first method would be using the DateTime module, and a second method would be by using the DateUtil module. So we'll be looking at both the modules one by one. Talking about first of all the DateTime module, let's have a look on how it works. First of all, we need to convert a string into a DateTime. So let's get a string over here. I'll be writing a string a is equals to, inside this I'll be passing some values. So first of all, let's say I want to pass this month October. Date is 14, and I'm talking about the year 1997. The time over here is 7:15. That means 7:15 in the morning. So for the morning, I'll be writing AM. Okay, let's print its type. So if I write print type of A right now and run it, it would give me the output that it belongs to the classes of string. Now what do I need to do? I need to convert it into a DateTime. To convert its type into a DateTime, I will be importing the module that from DateTime import DateTime. Once we have imported DateTime, we will be using a variable called as date_time is equals to DateTime.stripTime. So stripTime over here will allow us to parse a string that would represent a time in the correct format. Okay, so I'll be giving the format over here. So I need to represent my date, that is our A. So you can write A also, or let's make it as date as well. So we can write this one as date, and we'll put this as date, and this one as date as well. So we need to convert this date into a format. What format this is going to be? Let's write that. So in the double quotes, I'll be passing %B for the month. For the day, I'll be writing percentage, that is modulus D. Then we have year. For year we write percentage, that is modulus capital Y. After this we have hours. For hours I'll be writing modulus capital I. I'll be putting the symbol of colon, and then I'll be writing modulus capital M, which will represent the minutes, and then modulus for AM PM I'll be writing P. And as there is no gap in between over here, so I will also remove this gap from here. Let's print date time and also print its type. So print type of date underscore time. Let's run and see what output we'll get. So it would tell us that we have a classes of string. 1997 is the year, 10 is the month, date is 14, 07 is the hour, 15 is the minute, and 00 is the seconds over here. So, and it would give us the class, that the class over here is DateTime dot DateTime. So that means we have converted our string into a DateTime over here by using a simple module that is called as DateTime. Now talking about our solution number 2, our solution number 2 would be using the DateUtil module. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So to use the DateUtil module, we will be writing from DateUtil import parser. Now parser is a function that allows us to convert, that means that allow us to parse a string into a machine readable code. So I'll be writing a variable called as date underscore time is equals to parser dot parse, and here I'll be passing the values. So my values would be again the same. Inside the double quotations I'll be writing October 14, 1997, and I'll be passing the time as well, that is 7:15, and I'll be writing AM. Once I'm done with this, I'll be printing date time. So inside this, you don't need to create a string before. You can just pass the string right after parser.parse, and it will parse it into a date time. And if I print date time and print the type of date time as well. So let's have a look on what output we'll get. As you can see, I've already commented my previous code. So I'll be just running this one. Let's run and see what output we'll get. So as soon as we have run it, we have got the output that 1997 is the year, 10 is the month, 14 is the date, 07 is the hours, 15 are the minutes, and 00 are the seconds. And class is DateTime dot DateTime. So even previously we were getting the same kind of output. That means our string was converted into what? DateTime. And in this method also we have got this same output, that our string now has been converted into a DateTime. Only difference over here is that here you can create a variable beforehand, and after that you can write a variable called as DateTime and write DateTime dot stripTime. StripTime allows us to represent a string in the format of a time. And then we can write the format over here, that is our date. That date needs to be converted in this way, that in our date, our first thing is the month, second thing is the day, third thing is the year. Then after that we have hours, colon, minutes, and seconds, and meridian. Similarly, our second solution says over here that from our DateUtil module, we will be importing parser, and we'll create a variable called as DateTime. Inside this, we will be passing our string, and that string will automatically get converted from string to a this video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to fetch the last element from a list. Now guys, there is a very simple method on how it can be done. Let's first understand the logic, then we will apply it in our Python. So suppose if we have a list over here, I'm calling a list as Avengers. Inside Avengers I have some names. Let's say I have Iron Man, I have Hulk, I have Vision, and I have Thor. Okay. Now what do I need to do? I need to fetch the last element over here. Now to fetch the last element, I can clearly write that Avengers, or I'll print Avengers. And with the help of indexing here, that means we can use the method of indexing, and I can pass the index number. So I know that over here for Iron Man, the index number is 0. Then for Hulk, we have 1. Then for Vision, we have 2. And then for Thor, we have 3. So if I write 3 and run it, so I'll get the output Thor over here. That is the last element of the list. But what if the length of the list is more? What if we don't know what is the length of the list? Suppose there are more elements to it. Let's say there is Captain America as well. Now if I run this, so we are still getting Thor over here. So doesn't matter what should be the length of our list. Every time if we are not getting the last element, then our program is not working properly. So there is something that needs to be changed over here. Let's understand this logic, that what needs to be changed here. So as I said, we have a list of elements, that is Iron Man, comma, Hulk, Vision, Thor, and Captain America. So let's remove Captain America as of now. Let's first concentrate till here only, okay? So if I talk about this list, we know that Iron Man is on index number 0, Hulk is on index number 1, Vision is on index number 2, and Thor is on index number 3. If I want to print Thor, I can simply write list, that is print. The name of the list is, for example, right now list. And in this list, I can go for third element, that is index number 3. That is Thor, right? But what if there are more elements? So if there were more elements, like over here, if we have Captain America, then in that case, the index number over here would be 4, and instead of 3, we need to write 4. What if the list increases or decreases? In that case, again, we need to change this value. What if we can put a constant value over here that will allow us to get the last element every time? For that, we can use the negative indexing over here. Now, how does this negative indexing works? That positive indexing starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and negative starts from -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5, and so on. So negative last element will always be -1. If this list was up to here only, then this element Thor would be on -1, Vision would be on -2, Hulk would be on -3, and Iron Man would be on -4. But because it is still Captain America, the last element, whatever the last element is, it will always be -1. Similarly, if we talk about the first element, so it doesn't matter if the list is of 2 elements, 3 elements, 4 elements, or 5 elements, the first element will always be on index number 0. Similarly, the last element will always be on index number -1. So instead of writing the positive indexing, we will be writing the negative indexing over here. So here, instead of writing 3, I'll be writing -1, and as soon as I run it, I'll get the output Captain America. Suppose if I was not having this as a last element and I only had it till Thor, in that case, if I would have run it, I would have got the output Thor. That means -1, doesn't matter at what element your list ends, whatever is the last element, you will receive it if you are writing the index as -1. And in this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to write multiple lines inside a one line. Suppose if we have multiple print statements in Python, and if you want that in your output, you only want to obtain those statements in one single line, how it can be done in Python? Let's have a look on that. For this, we will be needing 2 print statements. First print statement, let's say, says that in the first print statement, I'll be writing Harry. Let's keep it capital. So, Harry Potter. And in the second print statement, I'll be writing the name of the part, that is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Okay, so what do I need to do is, if I run it right now, I'll get the output in 2 different lines. That means I'm receiving Harry Potter and the Prisoner of the Azkaban in 2 different lines. Now what I want is that I want it in one line, that Harry Potter should be there and the Prisoner of Azkaban should also be there in the same line. Now you would say that why then in that case you would just copy this and paste it over here. Yes, that could be done, definitely. But there is another method in our Python that will allow us to write the next print statement automatically in the same line. How it can be done is very simple, that over here I'll be writing comma and end is equals to open close parentheses. Now what this thing will do, this thing will add this print statement in the end of this line without a blank space. So if you don't put a blank space in between, and now if I run it, you will see it will look like this, that Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. That means there is no space in between. But if I put a space in between, in that case we would run and see that it would look like Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So what basically it is doing, it is removing the next line plus the white spaces. And if you want to add a white space over here, in that case what would happen? And if you want a white space over here, in that case all you need to do is write end is equals to open close double quotations, and inside the double quotations you will be passing a space in between. So I hope guys, writing multiple lines into a single line is very clear to you. Only one method is there, and that is also very simple, that whenever you want that your next line should come in the previous line, in that case in the end of the previous line you just need to write the end statement, that end is equals to open close the double quotations, and inside that you need to pass a space in between. video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to read a file. That means if we have a file, if we have a .txt file and we have some lines written in it and we want to read those lines in a format of a list, how it can be done using Python, we'll be looking at that in this video. Also, this can be achieved by two methods. Our first method is by using the readLines method, and the second method over here would be the loop and the list comprehension. So we will be looking at both of them one by one. First of all, talking about the readLines method, let's have a look on how it can be done. So solution 1 is using readLines. For reading the lines, first of all, I'll be opening the file in the reading mode. So f is equals to open. If to open a file, we write f is equals to open. We open the parentheses and over here we pass the name of the file inside double quotation. Now what is the name of the file? So I have already created a file which is called as file.txt. Inside this I have written, hello everyone, this is my demo file. I hope you all like it. So the name of my file is file.txt, and remember one thing, that this file should be there in the same location where your Python codes are there. That means the path of this file and the path of this code should be same. If it is not same, in that case you need to specify the path here. Okay, so open file.txt, comma, in which mode we are going to open it? We are going to open it in the reading mode. Once we have opened it in the reading mode, now we need to write, I'll be calling a variable called as line. Line is equals to, that means we'll be using this f function here, f dot read lines, open close the parentheses. Let's print what is there inside this line variable. Okay, so you can now see that we have read all the lines which was there inside our file, and they all got printed over here. That hello everyone, a \n is representing that whatever is the next line, it is in the next line. That means it's not in the same line over here. It's over here it's showing it in the same line, but actually it is in the next line. Now what we need to do, we need to remove this \n. I'll be using the list comprehension method. For that I'll be writing a variable called as, so new lines is equals to, because it's a list, I'll be writing x dot strip. Now strip method will allow us to remove blank spaces. What are the blank spaces? This \n over here means that you are going to the next line. Now next line over here means that after your first line we have all the blank spaces over here, and those need to be stripped. So x dot strip for x in line. Once we are done with this, I'll be printing the new lines as well, and we'll see the comparison between both of them. Then what is the comparison between the line and the new lines? So as soon as I run it, now you will notice that I have received two outputs. The first output is with our \n, and the second output over here is with the strip method. That using the strip method we have removed the blank spaces. That means the \n has been removed and all the lines are coming directly in the format of a list. So I hope guys that the first method over here is clear, that all we need to do is we need to open the file in the reading mode, read the lines. Once you read the line, it will give you the output in the format of a list, that all the lines which are there inside the file, they are written inside the list. And once we have received those lines, what we need to do is we need to remove those blank spaces. To remove the blank spaces, we will be using the strip method and we will be using the list comprehension. Now this was our method number 1, that means solution number 1 to do this program. We have another solution over here in which we will be using the loops and the list comprehension. Now to read the lines over here, we will be using the loop. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So again, for our solution number 2, we need to first open the file and read it. To open the file, we'll be writing f is equals to open. Which file we need to open? File.txt we need to open. So file.txt. And in which mode? We will be opening it in the reading mode. Once we have opened the file in the reading mode, now what I need to do is I need to create a variable called as line. Inside this I'll be passing a list, and list, why I'm using a list? Because I need to obtain these lines in a format of a list. So I'll be writing line for line in f. Okay, this is a list comprehension method. If you want, you can put this one as lines. Okay, because we'll be obtaining the multiple lines. Let's print and see what we will obtain inside the lines. As soon as I run it, I'll get the output in this way, that I'll be obtaining hello everyone, this is my demo file. Again the backslashes and ends are there because of the next line, that the text is in the next line. That means if you have a text and this space over here after this is indicating that it is in the next line. Okay, so backslash over here is representing that it is in the next line. To remove it, again we will be using the same method that we used on the top. That means we'll be creating a variable called as new lines is equals to, again we'll be using the square brackets, x dot strip, open close the parentheses, for x in lines. Once we're done with this, we'll be printing the new lines. Let's run and see what output we'll get. So we will be getting this output that our new list will have no more \n. So I hope guys the second method over here is also clear, that first of all we need to again open the file in the reading mode, read the lines in the format of a list. That means we'll be using a for loop and we'll be writing line for line in f. That means all the data will come over here in the format of the list which is there inside the file. Once we print it, we get the output like this, which will contain \n. To remove the blank spaces, what we'll be doing, we'll be using x.strip method. Inside x.strip, we will not be passing anything because the default value is backspaces. That means if you want to remove the blank spaces, all you need to write is x.strip, open close the parentheses. Open close parentheses over here shows that the default value is blank spaces. So I hope guys that both the methods are clear to you and you have no doubts in the questions. Video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to check if a string, that if we have taken an input from a user as a string and a user writes a number, or if he writes a letter or anything, we need to check if that thing is a float or not. How to do it in Python is very simple. Let's have a look on this simple method to check it. First of all, we need to check it for a string. That's why I'll be creating a variable called as num, and inside this I'll be taking the input. I'm not taking this input in integer or in float. I'm taking it directly input. That means default value, that is our string. So that means whatever output will come over here, that would come in a format of a string. So input, enter something here. I'll be writing enter something here. Once a user has written something over here, what we need to check if it is float or not. For that, we have a very simple method. If I simply print float Enum. Okay, this would not solve our problem, but just have a look on what can be done. So if I want to convert this into a float, for that I'll be writing print float and number. So if it is something, if it is a number, then it will definitely get converted into a float. Even if it is an integer, then too it will get converted into a float. But what if it is a string? Let's have a look on what will happen if it is a string. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the output that enters something here and I'll be writing hello. Or first of all, let's try with a number. So I'll be writing 1, 2, 3. And it will give me an output 123.0. That means the value is in the float. Now again I'll be running this and enter something here and I'll be writing hello. And if I press enter, it will throw me an error that could not convert string to float hello. Why? Because hello is a alphabetic order and we cannot convert alphabets into the numbers. Now for that, what we will be doing, we need to check that if this string is a float or not without throwing an error. For without throwing an error, we will be using our try and except method. I'll be creating a function over here, the def, and we'll be checking for the float. That's why I'll call it check float. And inside the parentheses, I'll be passing the number. Okay. Now what do we need to do? We need to write the code where the error might occur. So error will occur inside the try method. So in try and except, Python has two methods called as try and except, two statements called as try and except. In the try statement, we write the code in which the error might occur, and in the except, we write the code where what solution could come if the error occurs. Okay, so if I'll write float num, so in this case, what could happen? The error might occur, right? So we'll be, if there is no error, then in that case we will return true. Okay. But what if there is an error? In that case, I'll be writing the statement called as except. Inside the except, we will be passing return false. False will give us that the string cannot be converted into a float, and the true will give us that it can be converted into a float. Lastly, I'll be printing the name of our function, that is check float, and inside this, I'll be passing num. Okay, now let's run and see what output we'll get here. So if I'll write enter something here, I'll be writing 1, 2, 3. If I write 1, 2, 3, it will give me true. While at the same time, if I write hello here, it should throw me error according to our previous program. But let's see what will happen now when we have written it inside the try and except method. So once I have pressed the enter, it is giving me false. False means what? That if there is error in this statement, it will execute this statement. That means it will give us false over here. Okay. So I hope guys that the method is clear to you, that how we can check if a string is float or not. All we need to do is take a user input called as num. Inside that we'll be writing input, enter something here. That means we'll be taking the input in the format of a string. We'll be creating a function called as check float. Inside that we'll be passing a parameter called as num, the one 1 which we took as a user input. After that we will be using the try and except method. The try except method over here tells us that in the try we can write the code in which the error might occur, and the except method we will be writing the code that what should happen if an error might occur to avoid the error to happen. Lastly, we will be writing print statement. In the print statement we will be writing the check float, that is the name of our function, and we will be calling the number over here, that means whatever the number we have given as an input. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to count how many times a number or a value is occurring inside the list. For this method, first of all, we need to know what are lists. Lists are a data type in Python that allows us to store multiple data types inside. They are enclosed inside the square brackets. Each values inside the list is separated by a commas, right? Okay, now what do we need to do over here is that if we have a list, we need to count how many times any particular item is occurring inside that list. Let's have a look on how it can be done in Python. For this, first of all, I'll be creating a list called as numbers, and inside this I'll be adding some numbers to the list. So I'll be writing 10, 30, 20, 10, 40, 20, 10, 40, 10, 20, then 10. Okay. So what do I need to do is I need to find that, suppose this list is right now very small, right? But what if this list was a huge list? And in that case, if I wanted to find that how many times element 10 is occurring in this list, for that we have a very simple method. I'll be writing count underscore occurrence. This is just a variable. You can give it any name over here. So you can just write, if you want to write any short name, you can write a short name, or if you want to write a count occurrence just like me, then you can write count occurrence as well. After this, what do we need to do is we need to write the name of our list, that is numbers dot count. The first method over here is count, and what do we need to count? We need to count number 10, that how many times number 10 is occurring, and then we'll print count occurrence. Let's run and see what output we'll get. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the output 4, that 4 times element 10 is occurring, that is 1, 2, 3 and 4, which is correct as well. Similarly, if I wanted to check it for number 40, not 140 but 40, in that case it would have given us 2 times. Suppose if I would have written any number that is not there inside this list, suppose 50 is not there inside the list, which is actually not there, and if I run it, it would give me the output 0, that it is not occurring at all inside our list. So I hope guys the method is clear over here, that first of all you need to create a list in which you can add any element. Suppose if they were strings, suppose if instead of numbers they were A, L, A, W, C, B, W. So what do I need to check in this time? I want to check that how many times alphabet W is occurring. For that I'll be creating a string over here as well, and I'll be writing W. And if as soon as I run it, I'll get the output that 1 time W is occurring. Why? Because here we have not put the comma. Now again if I run it, I'll be getting the output as 2. So again if I run it, I'll be getting the output as 2 over here. And if I check it for alphabet C, it would give me 1 as an output, because only one time alphabet C is occurring. So I hope guys that the method is clear to you. All you need to do is write the name of the list followed by dot count function, which will count whatever element you want to count inside the list. In this video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to append to a file. So guys, append over here means that if you have a pre-existing text file and if you want to add some data to it, append will allow us to add data inside that file. Or if you do not have any file, or if you do not have any pre-existing file, append will allow you to create a new file and write the data inside it. Or even if there is no data in your file, append would still work and add the data inside it. So let's have a look on how it can be done. To append to a file, on the left hand side I have created a Python file, and on the right hand side I have created a demo.txt file. That means this is a text file. If you want, you can create it with any other name. Just remember that the extension should be .txt. It should be a txt file. And this one, the file in which we are going to write our program, is going to be our .py. That means a Python file. Now, how to open this file? Now, to work on this file, we will be writing f is equals to open. What do we need to open? We need to open this file. The name of this file is demo.txt. And in which mode we need to open it? We need to open it in the append mode. So append over here means that we will be adding the data inside it to write inside this file. Right now you can see that the file is completely empty, no data is there. So what I'll be doing, I'll be writing f.write, and what do I want to write? For example, I want to say hello and an exclamation mark, and I'll be writing f.close. It is very important to close the file once you are done working inside it. So we have opened a file in the append mode, then we have write the data hello, and then we have written f.close. Now let's run and see what would happen if I run this code. As soon as we have run the code, you can clearly see that in the demo.txt we have hello, and if I check it over here at the bottom, there would be no text over here in the Python, right? But in the demo.txt we have our hello, that means the word that we wanted it to write. Okay, suppose I want to add some more thing. Let's say that I want to write how are you, and if I run this, what you would notice is that this how are you is not coming in the new line, but it is coming exactly right after the hello and without even a space. So what to do in that case? In that case, you can just write a backslash and n over here. A backslash and n means that whatever is the next text, it is going to be inside the next line. So now if I run it, you can see in the new line it is written how are you. So this is how you can write inside the new line. And suppose if you want to write something multiple times, so what I would do in that case, I'll be writing a variable. Let's say I'm creating a variable called as text. Text is equals to, let's say I want to write hope you are doing well. Okay, once you have written this, what I'll be using a for loop to write this 5 times inside my file. To write that, I'll be taking for I in range 1 to 5, or you can take 0 to 5 or 1 to 5, choice is totally up to you. So if I take 0 to 5, in that case it would be printing it 5 times. And what do we need to write? We need to f.write, and inside I'll pass my text variable, that this text we have to write 5 times. Okay, let's run and see what output would come. So if I'll run it, you can now see over here that I have hope you are doing well, hope you are doing well, hope you are doing well, hope you are doing well in one single line. So what I could have also done is put a backslash over here, put n, and now again if I run it, you will now see hope you are doing well, hope you are doing well is 5 times over here in 5 different lines. It is because of the backslash and n that we have used in the starting. So I hope guys that how we can write a text inside a file with the help of Python is clear to you. All we need to do is first of all open the file in the append mode. Append mode allows us to add some data to the pre-existing data. After that, you can create a variable called as text if you want to write it multiple times, or if you want to write something a single time, then in that case you can write f.write and write any data that you want to write inside your file, for example hello. And to avoid writing it inside the same line, you can put a backslash and n so that it would move to the next line. So if I run it again, it would print hello and hope you are doing well 5 times. This video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to delete an item from a dictionary. First of all guys, talking about dictionary, what are dictionaries? Dictionary is a data type in Python that allows us to pass 2 values inside it. That means you can pass the values inside it in the format of keys and values. Each key and pair values are then separated by a comma over here. Okay, now talking about once we create a dictionary, how to delete an item. In Python there are 2 methods in which we can delete an item from a dictionary. One is using the delete keyword, that means we'll be using the del keyword, and the second one would be by using the pop function. So we'll be using the pop function to delete an element from a dictionary. Let's have a look on both of them one by one. First of all, talking about the delete statement, that how delete statement work. Let's have a look on that. For example, I have already created a dictionary over here that says marks is equals to, so the name of the dictionary is marks. Inside that I have given the student details, that means the first student is John and the marks of John are 89. Then Lisa, and Lisa's marks are 96. David's marks are 65, and Peter's marks is 88. So 4 students details are there. So details of 4 students are there. Now what I need to do is, first of all, let's print it. And let's print the marks and see what output we will get. So if I run it, I'll get the output John 89, Lisa 96, David 65, Peter 88. Okay, now what do I need to do? I need to delete the David's data from here. Okay, so how to delete it? To delete it, I'll be writing del marks, and in the square bracket I'll be passing David. That is the name of my key. Okay, so here John is the key, 89 is the value, Lisa is the key, 96 is the value, David is the key, 65 is the value, Peter is the key, and 88 is the value. To delete something, we need to write the name of its key. So we are deleting, what are we deleting? From our marks dictionary, we are deleting the data of David. So that's why it needs to be kept inside and in the double quotations we'll be passing David. Let's run and see what happens now once I print marks again. So if I run it now, you can see in the second data, in the second output over here, we do not have the data of David. We only have John, Lisa and Peter because David has been deleted by using the del keyword from here. Okay, this is our solution number 1 where we use the delete keyword to delete a key. You can specify a key, that which key you want to delete, and it will automatically delete the key as well as its value. So first solution was using the del keyword. Now second solution would be by using the pop function. To use the pop function, again I'll take the same dictionary here. So I'll just copy this dictionary and paste it over here, and let's print it as well. So I'll print marks and run it. So this is the output that we are getting. Now what do I need to do? I need to again pop a key from here. So for popping a key from here, I'll be writing marks dot pop and the name of my key, that is David, and print marks. Now as soon as I run it here, you can clearly see that from our dictionary the David's data has been removed. How it has been removed? By using our dot pop function. Dot pop means it will allow us to pop a key along with its pair. So inside the dot pop, you will be passing the name of the key which you want to delete. So I hope guys that both the methods are clear over here. Both the methods are very simple. All you need to do is use the one-liner statement delete method or delete statement, or you can use a pop function over here to delete something from our dictionary. This video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to write a long multiline string. So guys, long multiline string over here means that if you want to write a single print statement and inside it you want to write multiple lines, in that case long multiple line string is used. Now to create long multiple line string inside our Python, we have 3 methods. Our first method is with triple quotations, our second method is with the backslash in it, and our third method would be with only backslash. So let's have a look on each method one by one, starting with the triple quotations. For triple quotations, I'll be writing the print statement, and inside this I'll be passing triple quotations. Inside the triple quotations, whatever data you want to write. Suppose if you want to write hello, suppose if I would have used single quotations, let's say I would have used single quotations and here I would have pressed enter. Like I would have written hi, or maybe inside this only I would have just written hi, how are you, like this. Okay. In this case, it would have given me the data like this. That means it's not coming in multiple lines. To give it in multiple lines, what you can do is you can create triple quotations and you can write hello, how are you, hope you are doing well. Now if I run this, you will notice that it is coming in 3 different lines. The first line says hello, the second line says how are you, and the third line says hope you're doing well. That means you don't have to write 3 print statements to write 3 multiple lines. What you can do is you can pass it inside the triple quotation. Now talking about our second method, the second method over here. Now not just triple double quotations, you can also use triple single quotations as well. So if I use triple single quotations instead of triple double quotation, it would still do the same thing. So now talking about our second method where we will be using the backslash and n, let's have a look on how it can be done. So our second method over here says that we will be using our backslash and n. How to make it work is we will be writing a print statement. Inside the print statement, suppose if I have written hello with using single quotations. Now what I want to do, I want to write the backslash and n. That means I want to write the next data inside the next line. Like whatever is the next line, it should come in the next line. Okay. So how are you should come in the next line. So to make it come in the next line, I'll be writing backslash and n, and then I'll be writing how are you. After this again I'll be putting a backslash and n, and I'll be writing hope you are doing well. Now let's run and see what output we will get. So see, you can clearly see over here we have hello, how are you, hope you are doing well. Why there is a gap of 1 space in between is because of the space that we have in between over here. So you can provide the gap if you want after hello and how are you, but not between the backslash and n, otherwise it will create a gap over here. So if I run it again, now it's coming from the starting of the line. So this is how you can use the method of backslash and n to write into multiple lines. That means you can write a print statement. In one single line, you can write all the multiple statements you want to write, and whenever you want to move to the next line, at that place you can use the backslash and n. Let's move ahead to our third method where we will be using only one single backslash to do it. So here how you can create a long multiple line string is very simple. You can create a variable called a string. Inside you can write a values like hello, and I'll put a backslash and n. Also in the end I'll be putting a slash, backslash, and I'll be writing the next data over here. like how are you, again a backslash and n to move to the next line, and in the end I'll be putting a backslash, and lastly I'll be writing hope you are doing well. Once I'm done with this, I don't need to put anything in the next line. What I'll be just doing, I'll be just writing print string. Let's run and see what output we will get. So as soon as I have run this code, I hope the method over here is clear that first of all you need to create a variable called as string. You need to write the string that you want to write in the first line along with the backslash and n, because if you will not put a backslash and n and simply run it, it would come like this. That means it would come in a single line. To avoid that to happen, what you can do is you can write backslash and n. So again, if I run it, I'll be getting it inside the 3 different lines. So I hope guys that all the 3 methods over here are clear to you. Our first method is with the triple quotations, our second method is with the backslash and n, and our third method over here is with the simple slash. And our third method over here is with the simple backslash. In this video, we will be learning how to write a program that will allow us to extract the extension of a file. So if you have a file in your computer and you want to extract its extension, then how it can be done in Python, we'll be looking at that in this video. We'll be seeing 2 methods by which we can do it. So in our Python, we can achieve it by 2 methods. The first method is using the OS module, and the second method over here is using the pathlib module. So we will be using both of them one by one. First of all, talking about the OS module, let's have a look on how it can be done using the OS module. For using the OS module, you need to first import OS. Once you have imported the OS, we'll be creating a variable called as file underscore ext. File extension is equals to, for the file extension, what we will be doing, we'll be writing OS dot path. We'll be going to the path, and there we will be splitting its text. That's why we will be writing dot split text. Split text will allow us to split the text into 2 parts. One part would be the name of the file along with its location, and the second part would be the extension. Now to get the file, I'll go to my file explorer. Over here in a folder I have many Python files, plus I have a text file as well. So let's talk about file.txt over here. Okay, so I'll be going to its properties. In its properties I have its location. Let's copy the location from here and let's go back and paste it inside the double quotations. Now as soon as I have pasted, you can see there are backward slashes. Let's convert them into the forward slashes. Once we have converted the location into forward slashes, once we have written down the location, we need to write the name of the file. For the name of the file, again I will go here, click on its properties, and here on the top we have file.txt. Let's copy that and come back here. After programs, again I'll put one forward slash and paste the name of the file, that is file.txt. That means in the C drive, in the users, in WsCube tag, on desktop, inside YouTube mini programs, I have a file named as file.txt whose extension I need to extract. Okay, let's first of all do what? Let's just print file extension. So I'll be writing file ext, that means our variable. Let's run and see what output we will get. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the output in a form of a tuple, and I have 2 things inside this tuple. One is the location and the name of the file, and the other one is .txt. That means it has splitted this text into 2 forms. One is the location along with the name of the file, and the other one is the text. Now to obtain the text, what we can do, in our tuples we know we have the method of indexing. So what we can do, inside the square bracket I can write one, that on 0 number we have the location. Suppose if I'll write 0 over here, I will obtain the location and the name, that is C drive, users, WsCube, desktop, YT mini programs, and file. And to obtain .txt, we can just write, that means our extension over here, we can just write one, that our one index we have .txt. So inside the tuple we had 2 values. On 0 index we had the location, and on 1 index we have the extension of the file. So I hope guys that this first method is clear to you, that how we have done it. And moving ahead to our second method, that is we will be using the pathlib module. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So our second solution is using pathlib module. To use pathlib module, I'll be writing that from pathlib, I'll import path, which will give us the path of that file which we are looking for. So here I'll be writing print. Directly I'll be writing the print statement and passing path. Inside the path, I'll be giving the location of the file. For the location of the file, I'll be just copying the data that I wrote on the top up to the name of the file. As soon as I'll copy, I'll paste it over here right after the path inside the double quotations. Once we have passed it, after this, in the end, we need to use dot suffix. Dot suffix over here will give us the suffix of the file, that is the extension of the file. Similarly, dot prefix will give us the name and location of the file. So first of all, let's run it for dot suffix, and if I run it, I'll get the output dot txt. In the same way, if I would have written instead of dot suffix, I would have written dot prefix. And similarly, if you want to obtain the name and the location of the file, you can use dot prefix method. So I hope guys that both the methods are clear to you. In both the methods, all you need to do is just use the inbuilt methods, and with the help of our inbuilt functions, we can obtain the extension of our files. And in this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to measure the elapsed time. Now, what is elapsed time over here? Suppose if you want to do a plank. Before doing a plank, what do? We start the stopwatch and we do the plank, and then we stop the stopwatch to check how much time has been passed, right? That is only the elapsed time. But in Python, how we are going to do is that we will be counting the starting time, then we will execute any task, let's say in Python, or we will run any code in Python, and after that we will stop that time and see how much time has been passed to do that task. Okay, so let's have a look on how it can be done. In our Python, there are two methods in which it can be done. The first method is with the help of the time module, and the second method is with the help of timeIt module. Let's have a look on both of them one by one. So as I said, we are going to use the time module. For using the time module, I'll be importing time, import time. After importing the time module, we need to take the starting time. So I'll be creating a variable called as starting time, that what is the exact time right now. For that, I'll be taking time dot time. So time dot time function will give me the exact time which is right now. And inside this, what do we need to do is we need to write a code. So let's write the code to our two numbers. So I'll be writing number is equals to int input. Enter a number here. Similarly, we'll be writing number 2 or number 1 is equals to int input. Enter a number here. Okay, once we are done with this, we will print its output, that print number 1 plus number 2, or it is number plus number 1, right? Okay, once we have done this, we will be counting the ending time. For that, again, we will be writing a variable called as ending time is equals to, again, the same method time dot time, which will give us the exact time of the ending. And what we need to do now, we have the starting value, we have the ending value. To obtain the ending value, what we'll be doing, we will be writing print ending value, so ending time minus starting time. So suppose it started at 4 seconds and it stopped at 8 seconds. So 8 minus 4 would be what? 4. So here, this is how we will be getting the output, that suppose if this started at 4 seconds and this ended at 8 seconds, so we'll be writing 8 minus 4, which will give us the output 4 itself. Okay, so that means the elapsed time over here would be 4 seconds. So let's run and see what output we'll get. So as soon as I run it, it will ask me to enter a number. Let's write 12. I'll write 12 again, and the output is 24, but it took me 5 seconds, 5.2 seconds here. Again, let's run it, and I'll write 1, 4. This time it took me hardly 2 seconds, so output is again 5. And here the semicolon will be replaced with the colon. So this is how it works, that we have counted what? We have counted the starting time and we have counted the ending time, and then from the ending time we have subtracted the starting time. So this was, guys, method number 1. Now we will be talking about the second method, where we will be using the timeIt module. From our timeIt module, we will be importing the default timer, which will give us the exact time of now. So for that, I'll be writing from. So from our timeIt module, what we will be doing, we will be importing our default timer. Or what default timer would do over here, default timer would give us the exact time of now. So we'll be writing import or from timeIt import default timer. And let's create a alias for that, because default timer term itself is a big term, so as timer. So let's call it timer. Once we have got this, we need to write the starting value and the ending value. That means the same method that we used over here. So starting time is equals to timer. That means we are calling our default timer over here. And let's execute a function. So let me execute the same function, or if you want, you can use any mathematical function as well. You can work on any mathematical function. For example, if I have written print 10 raised to the power 45. Okay, it's going to be a very huge calculation, but let's see how much time Python will take to solve this. Okay, and ending value or ending time is equals to, again, timer to get the exact time. Once we're done with this, we'll be writing print ending time again minus starting time. Okay, only the method remains the same, only the modules that we are using in both of them are changing. So let me just do one thing. Let me just put this one inside the comments and let's run it. So once we run it, we'll get the output this much, and the time to execute this would be our 2.3 something seconds. Okay, so once we have executed it, we are getting the output in this way, and over here the time that has taken has also been mentioned. Similarly, if you want, you can take the time from here as well. Like you can take the equation, the same equation that you took over there in the first program, and you can paste that one as well. Let me just comment it and let's run it again. Once we run it, so 12:1, and it took us 6.43 seconds. So if you ask me which is the best module, like both of them are doing the same task, right? But which is the best module to get the exact time would be our Time-It module. Time-It module will give us the exact correct time. Like the time module will also give us the exact time, but it would be somewhere close to that. But while Time-It module will give us the exact same time, so I would prefer Time-It module over the time module. Okay. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to obtain the class name of an instance. Guys, talking about instance over here is what is an instance in our OOP programming. When we write any function inside the OOP programming, that function is known as the instance. Like if we have created a class and in a class we want to define function, that function is called as instance. What do we need to do is we need to get the class name of that instance. How to obtain it? In our Python, we have two methods by which we can obtain it. Our first method is by using the class and the name attributes, and our second method is by using the type and the name attribute. So let's have a look on both of them one by one, starting with the first method. So our first method says solution 1 using class and the name attributes. How we will be using it? First of all, we need to create a class. So I'll be creating a class called as smartphone. I'll put a colon and write def. That means we are defining an instance over here, or you can call it a function in our normal Python's language, but in OOP programming it is called as instance. So here I'll be calling name, and I'll be passing the self parameter and the name inside it, and I'll return the value of name. Okay, this is just an instance. Just I'm taking an example over here. We don't have to do with anything with this. But what I need to do is I need to definitely create a class and an instance so that we can find the name of the class of this instance. Okay, so to get the name of this class, we need to first create an object. For creating an object, I'll be creating S1. S1 is equals to smartphone. Open, close the parentheses. This will tell us that this is an object 1 which belongs to the class of smartphone. Now, what do we need to do? We need to get its class name. To obtain the class name, we will be writing a simple line that print S1, that is the name of our object, dot class dot name. Let's run and see what output we will get once we have done this. So as soon as we run it, we are getting the output smartphone, which is the name of this class. So this is how I can obtain the name of the class by using the instance. Talking about our solution number 2, that is by using the type function and our name attribute. Let's see how it can be done. For our second method, I will be again creating a class called as smartphone. Put a colon. Create an instance again. So name, and I'll be passing the self parameter plus the name inside it, and we'll return the name here. Okay, once we're done with this, let's create an object that S1 is equals to smartphone. So far, all these steps are similar to our previous code, and we'll be passing the parentheses. Once we're done with this, what we will be doing, we'll be writing print. We are going to find the type. We need to find the type of S1. Okay, let's run and see what output we will get. So we are getting class main smartphone, but I don't want this class and main over here. I just want the name. Okay, to obtain only name, what you can do is you can write dot name. Now let's run and see what output we'll get. As soon as we'll run it, we will only obtain the name. We will not obtain the class and the main thing over there. We will only obtain the name of our class, that is smartphone. So I hope guys that both the methods are clear to you. In both the methods, only we need to do is write the one-line statement. Otherwise, the methods are completely same. Here we have used the class and the name attributes to get the class name, and in the second method we have used the type function and the name attribute to get the class name. Similarly, in our first function as well, if I only write the class, suppose if I would have only written the class, let's put this inside the comment and let's uncomment this one, and if I run it, it would again give me class main smartphone, but to obtain the name, all you need to do is write name, and if you run it, you will directly get the name. And in this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to convert two lists into a dictionary. Guys, in our Python, there are two methods. Our first method is with the help of our zip function and dictionary methods. And our second method is by using the zip function along with the list comprehension method. So we will be looking at both of them one by one. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So guys, as I said, solution 1 is using the zip function and the dictionaries method. So we need to convert the list into a dictionary. For converting a list into a dictionary, we need two lists. Why two lists are required? Because we want to pass keys and the values. In a dictionary, inside a pair, we have a key and a value. So for our keys, we have name, and for our values, we have marks. Okay. So name is John and the marks would be 98, Peter 78, Lisa 88, and David 72. Now, how do I make a pair of them? To make a pair, I will be using a zip function. Now, how to use the zip function is very simple. You can create any variable. Suppose I'm creating a dictionary, a variable called as dictionary. In here, I'll be using a zip function. What zip function will do? It will iterate in both the list one by one. So, I'll be passing both of them. I'll be passing the name and the marks as well. So it will iterate inside both of them one by one and create a pairs in the form of a tuple. But we don't need a tuple, we need a dictionary, right? So while printing, what we will do, we will write dict to convert the data type into dictionary, and then we will write dictionary here. So if I run it, I'll get the output in this way, that we have John 98, Peter 78, Lisa 88, and David 72, which is what we wanted in the first place, that we converted the two lists in the format of a dictionary by using the zip function and the dictionary method. What is the dictionary method over here is very simple, that we have written DICT in front of the dictionary. That means whatever output we have got after using the zip function, in front of it you need to put dictionary so that it gets converted into dictionary. So I hope guys that the solution 1 is clear over here. In our solution 2, we will be talking about the zip function and the list comprehension method. So for our solution 2, again I'm taking the two lists because obviously we need two lists over here. And what I'll be doing, I'll be again creating a variable called as dictionary. Now because I'll be using a list comprehension method, we will not be using the square brackets, but because we want to obtain the dictionary, that's why we will be using the braces here. And because we want to, inside the dictionary, we want key and value pairs. So I'll be writing key, colon, value. You can write any other variable name as well, but I am writing key and value for key, comma, value in, and again we will be creating a zip of marks and name. So I'll be writing zip, and inside I'll be passing name, comma, marks. Here we don't need to put a parentheses, so we can just directly write zip and name and marks. Now let's print our dictionary. So once I run it, I'll get the output John 98, Peter 78, Lisa 88, David 72. If I would have written marks first and name later, then in that case, so if I would have written in this way, not without a colon but with a comma, and let's run it again. So if I run it, this time the marks are the keys and the name is the value. So you can swap if you want to. So method is very simple over here, that again we use the zip function to iterate inside it, and we have written key and value, that for key value in zip marks, comma, name, we need to obtain key, colon, value. And then we have printed the dictionary. So I hope guys that both the methods over here are clear. In our first method, we use the zip function along with the dictionary method. And in our second solution, we use the zip function along with the list comprehension method. In this video, we will learn how to differentiate between type and is instance in Python. So guys, to understand type and is instance, we will be using the concept of inheritance that is used in our OOP programming. Now, what does the concept of inheritance? There are two classes. One is the parent class and the other one is a child class. The child class is the one that inherits all the behaviors from the parent class. Now, how to declare if a class is a child class or a parent class, we'll be having a look on that as well. And after that, using the concept of inheritance, we will be understanding the difference between type and is instance. So for this, I'll be taking an example here. I'll be creating a class called as smartphone. Inside this, I'm declaring an instance def name and passing a self parameter. And here I'll be writing the pass statement. The pass statement I'm writing here because I don't want to actually write anything inside it. It's just for an example. And then I'll be creating another class. This is our child class. So smartphone is a parent class, and for the child class, how to declare a child class, let's see that. Just like how we have created the smartphone class, I have created the child class, and here in the parentheses I'll pass smartphone. Now what will happen, this Nokia is the child class which will inherit all the behavior from its parent class, that is the smartphone. So smartphone is now the parent class, and here I'll be creating another function, that phone underscore name. I'll pass the self parameter and write pass here. Once I'm done with this, I'll be creating two objects. So object underscore smartphone. First of all, let's talk about smartphone is equals to smartphone, open close the parentheses. That's how you create an object of a class. And object underscore n is equals to Nokia. So this one belongs to Nokia, and the first one belongs to the smartphone category. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll write a print function. And here I'll be passing the type of smartphone, that is the object type of smartphone. Okay, so I'll be writing type obj smartphone. Let's run this much. So this is not how we're going to do it, but let's run this much and see what output we'll get. So we'll get class main smartphone. That means it belongs to the classes of smartphone. And because I want to use a boolean operation over here, so I'll be writing that type of object smartphone is equal to smartphone or not. If it is yes, then if it is equal, that means it will give us true. And if it is not equal, that means it will throw us false. So if I run it, it should give us true. And yes, it is throwing us true. Similarly, let's do the same for our Nokia, that type of object Nokia is equals to Nokia. Let's run this as well. So if I run this, this is also throwing me true. So what I'll do, I'll just over here type print. This is for type function. Okay, not talking about instance over here. If I write print for is instance, and I'll also pass one empty line. Okay, once we're done with this, we'll be printing the is instance for both of them. So is instance. Now is instance over here takes two parameters. First parameter is the name of the object, and the second parameter is if what we are checking it with. So I am checking object smartphone comma with smartphone class, and print again, and I'm checking is instance again object Nokia, and I'm checking it with Nokia class. Okay, let's run and see what output we'll get. So for type function, we are getting true for both of them, and for instance also we are getting true for both of them. Now how to know the difference in between? So for example, if I write is instance, that means if I check is instance of object Nokia as smartphone, because obviously it's a child class, so it should inherit all the behavior for parent class. So if I write smartphone here and run it again, so it is still giving me true. But what if I check the type over here about for smartphone? That means is type of object Nokia is equal to smartphone. Let's check that. So it would give us false in this case. So this is how you will know the difference, that the type of object n is not equal to smartphone. That means if you have a child class. So what we know from here is that if you check the child class, if you're checking it for the child class, and if you take here the type, that means the type of the child class is equal to the parent class, then in that case it would throw us false. But at the same time, if we talk about the instance, that if the is instance, that means if the instance of object class is equal to the parent class, then in that case it will throw us true. And in this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to trim the white spaces from a string. So suppose guys, if we have a string and on both the sides, if we have white spaces, or if we have white spaces on the front side or at the back end side, then in that case, how to remove it? In our Python, we have two methods in which we can remove it. Our first method is with using the strip function in Python that we use along with the strings, and the second method over here is with the help of the regex module. Regex module is also known as regular expressions. We will be using it to remove our white spaces. Let's have a look on how it can be done. First of all, as we need a string over here to remove the white spaces, so let's take a string here. So inside the string, I'm writing I love Python. Okay, and I'm giving spaces on both the sides. Okay, now when I use the strip function, it does not mean that it will remove the spaces in between. It means that it will remove the spaces that we have on both the sides. As of now, if I print it, so if I write print string and run this program, so you will notice that in the output we will get spaces on both the sides again. Okay, how to remove these spaces? In our Python we have a strip method. How to use this method is very simple. We'll be again writing the print statement, and in the side this I'll be writing string dot strip, and I'll leave the parentheses over here as blank. Why I'm leaving it blank is because the default value over here is the spaces, that if you don't write anything over here in the strip method, then the default value is the blank spaces. So as soon as I run it, you will notice that I will get the output without any white spaces on both the sides. So here in the first string we have white spaces. Once we have used the strip method here, we do not have any white spaces here. So this is how the strip method works. But what if I have a backslash and n here? Suppose that I want a space of one line, okay, and then in the next line I have I love Python. So in that case, what would happen? See, if you will notice the first statement, before the first statement, there is a space of one line. But in the second statement, there is no space of one line. Now, how to give a space? Because what is happening over here is that it is along with the white spaces, it is also removing this one line. So how to get this line back is very simple, that instead of leaving it blank, you will mention here that we need to remove the spaces. So string dot strip, and only spaces needs to be removed, not the whole line. So now if I run it, you will now notice that there is a space of one line in between. That means the backslash and n over here is working, and it has not been removed by the strip method. So this is our strip method. Moving ahead and talking about our second method, that means we will be using the regular expressions. To use the regular expression, that means the regex module, we will be importing re module. So re represents regular expressions. That means regex. Okay, after this again we need a string over here, so I'll be creating a variable called as string. Inside I will be giving some spaces and I'll write I love Python. Once I have written I love Python, what do I need to do is very simple, that I need to create another variable over here, that is x is equals to, now here I will be using my regex module, that I'll be writing re.sub. Re.sub, what re.sub would do, that it will replace the original string here, and inside that it will introduce a new string with the patterns that we are going to apply here. Now what patterns will come over here is very simple. I'll be writing, now for the patterns what I'll be doing, I'll be writing r, inside the single quotations I'll be writing the circumflex symbol, backslash and s, along with the plus operator, the bar symbol, another backslash and s, the plus symbol and the dollar symbol, which will be replaced with the string, which will be replaced with the spaces in our string. Okay, now let me explain you the meaning of what I have written over here, because right now you might have been confused at what are these symbols over here. First of all, talking about the circumflex symbols. Circumflex symbol checks for the multiple occurrence of white spaces. So backslash and s is denoting a white spaces. Circumflex symbol over here is denoting that how many times this white spaces are occurring. The plus symbol is used in, to increase the number of times of these occurrence. That suppose if there are 3 times white spaces, it would remove the 3 times of white spaces. The bar symbol over here represents the OR operation, and the backslash s again represents what? The white spaces. The plus symbol checks the number of times the occurrence are there, and the dollar symbol over here checks that if at the end of your string this expression is occurring or not. So now this pattern needs to be replaced with what? The spaces. Wherever this space is there, this pattern needs to be used. Every time there is a space, suppose if there is a space 1, 2 and 3 spaces are there, for then it will do it for all the 3 spaces in the front and all the 3 spaces at the back, and in where it will do it inside the string. After this, all we need to do is write print x, and let's run and see what output we'll get. Let's first also put the previous data in comments. So we have written it already in comments. Now let's run and see. So once I'll run it, you'll see over here that I love Python is written over here without any white spaces on both the sides. So this is how our regex module, that means regular expressions, work. This task is very simple. All you need to do is you need to provide it with the pattern, and here symbols represent the different patterns here. In in this video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to represent enum. So guys, what is enum over here is very simple, that enum is a class in Python that allows us to represent enumerations. Now what are enumerations? If I talk about them, then enum allows us to create a symbolic names. If you have symbolic names and you want to bound them with the unique values or constant, then we use the method of enum. Let's have a look on how it can be done. For using enum, we need to import it. So we'll be writing from enum, I'll import enum. Okay, so we'll be using the enumerations over here. How we will be doing that? I will be creating a class over here, class called as, let's say, smartphones, and here I'll be writing enum and I'll put a colon. Now I'll be giving some variables over here. For example, I'll be giving Samsung is equals to 1, Nokia is equals to 2. I'm not giving the rankings over here, otherwise you might get offended with your phones. So for iPhone, instead of iPhone, I can take Apple. So Apple on 3. But I'm just giving them these numbers. Now what do I need to do over here is, if I print smartphones dot Samsung, suppose if I print it for Nokia, let's say, and run it, what it would give me? It would give me that it belongs to the classes of smartphones and it's writing Nokia as well. Okay. At the same time, if I write the same thing, for example, if I write print smartphones dot Samsung dot name. Okay, I want to know its name. So if I run it, I'll get the output Samsung only. Okay. If I would have written smartphones dot Samsung, in that case I would have got smartphones dot Samsung. But if you only want the name, in that case you just need to write name. Similarly, if I want to know the value of Apple, that what is the value of Apple here, for that what I'll write print smartphones dot Apple dot value, and let's run and see what output we'll get. So we'll get the output 3 over here. If I'll do the same method for the same phone, for example, if I take Samsung here, and for the value also if I take Samsung, in that case I would get the output in this way, that smartphones dot Samsung, that means that the name of our class dot Samsung, and in the name we will be obtaining Samsung, and in the value we will be obtaining the value that we have bound to Samsung. This is how enum works basically. So all you need to do is, from enum you need to import capital E enum, and for the classes we will be creating any class where you can bound the names with the symbols. Okay, for doing that, what we need to do is we need to create a class, and in the parentheses we need to present enum. That means we need to write enum, and after that we can create variables and bound them with unique values or constant. Later you can print the name and values and different stuff here. And in this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to obtain the file name using the file path. So guys, in our Python, it can be achieved by 2 methods. We'll be seeing both the methods one by one. First method is with using the OS module, and the second method is with using the pathlib module. So we'll be doing both of them one by one. First of all, talking about the OS module, let's have a look on how it can be done using the OS module. For using the OS module in our program, we will be importing OS. And after importing the OS, we will be writing, let's say we need to extract the name. So I'll be writing ext name. That means we want to extract the name. Inside this, I'll be writing OS. Let's go to the path, and then let's go to the base name. That means the name of the file. For the name of the file, what I'll be doing, I'll just go to my Explorer. And here I have a file called as demo.txt, and also I have a file.txt. So you can go for any of these files. You can click on its properties. So once we go to its properties, it's giving us the location, and also it is giving us the file name. So the location is C drive, users, WsCube, desktop, YT mini programs. And if I copy this and if I paste it here inside the double quotations, in that case, what do we need to do is we need to convert this backward slashes to forward slashes. So remember to convert all the backward slashes to the forward slashes. Once we are done with this, we'll be putting another forward slash. Lastly, we'll write the name of the file, that is file.txt. Once we have written this file name, so if I print extract name here and run it, so let's have a look on what we are getting. So we'll be getting file.txt over here. For the same, you can also use the split text method. For the split text, what you will be doing, you will be removing this base name from here, and you can write split text. In the split text, what would happen, you need to give the index over here, that is split text will convert it into two in a tuple, and one tuple would be the drive along with the location, That means the path of the file along with its location, and the other one would be .txt. So if you want to obtain the whole location along with the file name, in that case you'll be writing in the square brackets 0. So if I run it now, you will get the output C users, WsCube, desktop, YT mini programs, and file is the name. And if you want the extension, in that case you will be writing 1 over here, so you will get .txt here. But that's not what we want to get. We want to get the base name. So for the base name, you can just write the base name here. Once you're done with the base name, you can just print here extract underscore name, and you will get the output, the name of the file, that is file.txt. So guys, this was our first method where we use the OS module. Let's talk about the second method where we will be talking about our pathlib module. To use the pathlib module, I'll be writing from pathlib. So from the pathlib, I'll be importing path. Once we have imported path, what we'll be doing, we'll be writing print statement directly. Inside the print statement, I'll be writing path, and in the parentheses, again, I will pass the location of the file along with its name. So let's copy this text from here, and if I'll paste the text here inside the double quotations, I would get something like this. And in the end, what do we need to do? Now, if you want to extract the extension of the file, you write suffix. And if you want to obtain the name of the file, in that case, what do you write? You write .stem. So I'll be writing .stem. Now let's run and see what output we will get. So once I have run it, I got the output file over here, which is the name of our file. So I hope guys both the methods are clear to you. In our first method, we have imported OS module. After that, we have created a variable called as extract name. Inside that, we are passing os.path.base name. The base name will allow you to extract the name of the file. Similarly, in our second method, we have used from pathlib import path, and here we have given the path of the file and used .stem to obtain the name of the file. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to count the number of lines that are there inside a file. So guys, in our computer, we might have files in which number of lines are there, and if you want to know how many lines are there in a particular file, for that Python has a very simple method. You can count the number of lines which are there in your txt files. How it can be done in our Python? There are two methods in which it can be done. The first method is using the length function, and the second method is using the list comprehension method. Let's have a look on both of them one by one. First of all, talking about the length function, on the right hand side, I have created a file called as demo.txt. Inside this file, I have 4 lines of code which says, hello, this is a demo file. I hope you all like this, and thank you. 4 lines of text are there, and what do I need to do? I need to count it in our Python. So right now you can see there are only 4 lines and they are easily countable, right? But what if there are let's say hundreds and thousands of lines? You're not going to count each line one by one. For that, we have this method that first of all, we will open this file. To open a file, we have a very simple method. We write open, f is equals to open. What file we need to open, we will be mentioning that. So we need to open demo.txt. This is the name of my file, and in which mode I'm going to open it. It is the reading mode in which I will be opening it. Once we have opened it in the reading mode, let's write f.readLines, and I'll be printing this statement. So print f.readLines, and also I'll write f.close. Now what this method would do, this method would read all the lines that are there inside our file. Let's run and see. So once I run it, I'll get the output, hello, this is my demo file. I hope you like it, and thank you is there, right? So these are all 4 lines that we have obtained. Now I don't want to obtain these 4 lines. What I want the count of it. For the count of it, what I'll be doing, I'll be using a length function. For the length function, I'll be using len, and I'll put it over here. Close the parentheses. So I'll be using a length function. The length function gives us the length of something. So here we have 4 lines. So if I run it, I'll get the output 4 over here. That means our program is working perfectly fine. If I would have increased one more line, let's say I would have said, I love Python, and I would have now run the program. In that case, it would have given me 5 lines, because now there are 5 lines in our text file. So this is how our first method works, where you only need to use the length function. Now let's move ahead to our second method, where we will be using the list comprehension. For our list comprehension method, I'll be creating a variable called as lines. Inside this, I'll be writing that every time one will be added, for I in open, what do we need to open? Demo.txt. So I'll be writing demo.txt over here, demo.txt. What it would do, it would add one number every time the I will count a line over there and will create a sum of it. For the sum, we will be writing the sum in front of it. So it will give us the sum of this iteration. Once we get the sum over here, I'll be writing print lines. And if I run this, I'll get the output 5. That means our program again is working perfectly here. So let me just remove this line. And if I now run it, it would give me the output 4. That means our program is working perfectly fine. Okay. So all I have done over here is that I have written 1 for I in open-demo.txt, that every time 1 will be there for every iteration. Okay, and then we have written sum, that for every time whenever there is a line it will write 1, and we need to find the sum of it, that number of time, how many times the 1 will occur here. So in this case 4 times 1 will come, that after every iteration 1 1 1 and 1, and after that we have to write the sum. Sum will find the sum of the output of each iteration. So I hope guys that both the methods over here are clear to you and you have no doubts and no questions. And in this video we will learn how to write a program in Python that will allow us to get the full path of the directory that we are working on. Suppose in Python we are working on a directory and we want to get its full path, we want to obtain its full path, then how we can write a program that in Python only. So how we can write a program in Python that will allow us to get its full path. So here in Python it can be done in two methods. The first method is using the OS module and the second method is using the pathlib module. So we'll be seeing both of them one by one. First of all, let's talk about the OS module. Let's see how OS module works. For using the OS module, we will write import OS. Once we have imported OS, we need to write a simple statement that I'll be writing print OS dot path, because we want to obtain the path and we want to obtain the absolute path. So we will be writing absolute path. Whose absolute path we need to know? We need to know the current directory's absolute path. So OS dot get CWD. Get CWD means OS dot get the current working directory. That means whose path we need to know. We need to know the absolute path of current working directory. Let's run and see what output we will get. So once I run it, the output is C drive, users, WsCube, desktop, YT mini programs. This is the current working directory and this is the full path of the current working directory that we are working on. Similarly, if you do not want to get the full path of this working directory, but if you want to get a full path of some other directory, in that case, what you can do, in that case, you can write print os.path dot directory name. That means you can define the directory name over here, and inside you can write os.path dot absolute path. That means what you can do, you can write os.path dot directory name, that which directory name we are passing here. For which directory name I'll be passing double quotations. Inside this you can write the same directory name as well. So I'll be writing the same directory name, and as soon as I run it as well, once we have done this, what we will be doing, we will be converting all the backslashes into the forward slashes. And now if I run it, I'll get the output. The same output we will get, that we'll get C users WsCube desktop. On desktop, because I have written only YT mini programs, if I write the name of a file that is present inside this directory, suppose if I write any file name, like from A it starts, let's say I'll be writing this one, and now if I run it, so it would give me the exact same location. So you can get the absolute path of the current working directory as well, or if you want to give any other directories, if you want to obtain any other directory's full path, in that case you can obtain the other directory's full path as well by using our second method. So this was using our OS module. Now let's talk about our pathlib module. In our pathlib module, again we will be importing, first of all, we will be writing import pathlib. Once we have imported pathlib, we will be writing print pathlib dot path. I'll be writing open close the parentheses dot absolute. So we need to obtain the absolute path. If I run this, so it will give me the absolute path of the current working directory, that is C drive, users, WsCube, desktop and YT mini programs. Right. So this is how you can obtain the full path of the current working directory. All you need to do is write pathlib, that means the name of the module, dot path. We will be defining the path. Which path we are defining, because I have open close this parentheses, that means we are talking about the current directory. If I would have written any other file name over here, it would have given me the path of any other file, but because we have just left the open close parentheses, that means default value is we are talking about the current directory. Dot absolute is giving me the absolute path over here. Similarly, if you want to get it for any other directory, in that case you can write pathlib dot path. Inside the parentheses we can pass the name of the directory along with a file name. So I'll be copying this data from here and let's paste it here. Once I have pasted it here, in the end what do I need to write in the end? Because I want to find its root directory, so I'll be writing dot parent dot absolute. So absolute parent means I need to find its root directory. And now let's run and see what output we will get. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the same output that I got before for the previous directory. So here if you want, you can give a directory name of any other file, any other directory as well. Suppose if I write matplotlib, or I can open the pandas programs as well. Here again / and here if I'll write any word like file1.csv. So if I write file1.csv and I run it again, so in this case, I'll get the output that C drive users WsCube desktop, and on desktop I have pandas program, that is a name of a directory. So in this way you can obtain the full path of a directory you are working on, or the full path of a directory you want to obtain. In this video, we will learn how to write a program in Python that will allow us to iterate inside two lists in parallel. So guys, iterating in two lists in parallel means, suppose if you have two lists and one side you want the value of first list, and on the other side, like adjacent to it, you want the value of the another list. That is the meaning of iterating two lists in parallel. Let's see how we can do it in Python. To do it in Python, first of all, we need two lists. So I'll be creating two lists over here. L1, inside L1, I'll be writing, because lists are written inside the square brackets, so I'll be passing square brackets. And all the elements inside the list are separated by a comma. So I'll be creating three elements here. So I'll be writing Rachel, comma, Monica, comma, Phoebe. This is my list 1. Let's just increase the size. And let's talk about the L2, that is, the first element is, let's say, Ross. The second element is separated again by a comma, and the second element is Chandler, and the third element over here is Joey. Now what do I need to do? I need to iterate both the lists parallelly. To iterate both the lists parallelly, we have a function called as zip function, which is majorly used as tuples. What zip function do? Zip function iterate through whatever data type you want it to iterate on, and it returns a parallel iteration in the form of tuples. Let's see how it can be done. So for example, because we want to iterate over here, we will be writing for x in zip function, we will be using zip function to iterate in L1, comma L2. It will iterate in L1 and L2 and give us the values in the form of a tuple. So let's print x and let's see what values we are getting. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the output Rachel, Ross, Monica, Chandler, Phoebe, Joe. You can see we are getting the outputs in this way. Now this is in the form of a tuple. What if we don't want in the form of a tuple? What if we want normally how we obtain the variables normally? In that case, what you can do, instead of writing for x over here, you can pass two variables, that for x comma y in zip L1 comma L2 print x comma y. So I'll be storing the first value of the tuple in x and the second value of the tuple inside the y. So let's run it now. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the output Rachel, Ross, Monica, Chandler, Phoebe, Joey. That means we can get the output without getting them in the form of a tuples. So I hope guys that the zip function over here is clear to you. The zip function is not doing anything. It is just iterating in both the list, or both the list we have passed inside the zip function. If you would have passed L2 over here first, suppose instead of L1 first, you have written L2. In that case, what it would do, I will run it and show it to you. In that case, it will write the elements of list 2 first, then the elements of list 1 second. So this is how it may work. So it is totally up to you. Whichever list you want to give first, you can give it first, and whatever list you will give first, you will get the first item of that list first over here. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that would reverse a number for us. Guys, what is a reversing of number over here is that, suppose if you have a number, let's say 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and if you want to reverse this number, then the reverse of this number would be 3, 2 and 1. In Python, we can do it by a very simple method. We have two solutions by which we will be doing this. Our first solution would be using the while loop, and our second solution would be using the slicing method. So we'll be seeing both of them one by one. First of all, let's talk about using the while loop. For using the while loop, first of all, I'll tell you the logic that we are going to use, then we will write the program. So here, as we need to find the reverse of a number using WL is while loop. Okay, so what we will be doing over here is very simple. First of all, we need a number as an input from the user. We will be taking a number. Let's say the number is 1, 2 and 3. You can take a user input or you can create a predefined variable. Also, we will be needing another variable called as rev. In the reverse, we will be inserting 0 value. Why 0? Because later inside this reverse, we will be obtaining the reverse of this number, that would be 3, 2 and 1. Now, how to obtain 3, 2 and 1? For that, first of all, we will be giving a condition that while this number is not equal to 0, in that condition, what should happen? So, what we need to do, we need to obtain the reverse. So, reverse would be what? 3, 2 and 1. For that, first of all, from here we need to obtain 3. How to obtain 3 over here is very simple. We will use the modulus function. How to use the modulus function is we will be using this number that we will be creating a digit. We will be getting a digit. This digit, how to get this digit? We will be writing 123. That means this number when divided by 10, whatever remainder it gives, it would be this digit. So what remainder it would give when divided by 10? So if I divide it by 10, I'll get 10, 23, so 2 and 20, and the remainder would be 3 over here. That means inside this digit I will be getting the remainder 3. So digit would be equal to what? Our number modus 10, which would give us the last digit over here. After this, what we need to do, we need to add this digit inside our reverse. So right now reverse is 0. To this reverse we need to add this digit. How to add this digit is very simple. We will be writing reverse is equals to whatever our reverse is. Suppose it's 0. Right now it is 0. So reverse multiplied by 10 plus this digit. Okay, because what we are doing, we are getting the single digits over here. Later what we will be needing, suppose first digit is 3, next time it will be 2, right? So we will be needing not 3 plus 2, that is 5. We will be needing 32 over here. For that, what we will be doing, reverse would be that time the reverse would be 3. So 30 plus 2 would be there, 32. In this way it would work. Okay, so right now let's just talk about the first iteration. In our first iteration, we have received the digit, we have received the reverse. Lastly, what we need to do from this number, because now that we have received this number, we need to eliminate this number as well. So to eliminate this number, what we will be doing, you can clearly see in this division method over here that on the top we are obtaining 12. That means if I remove 3 from here, obviously we will be obtaining 12, right? So how we are obtaining it? We are getting this as a quotient. To obtain the quotient in our Python, we write number is equals to number floor division 10. By writing number floor division 10, we will be obtaining the quotient, that would be 12. So now the number would be 12 this time. Again, the same iteration will happen, and now what would happen? To obtain the last digit, we will divide this by 10 and we will get the remainder 2. And this time the reverse would be what? Reverse would be 3. Again, reverse multiplied by 10 would be 30 plus the digit would be 2. That means it will become 32. And from this number, so from 12, we will eliminate it by using the floor division, and we will remove this 2 by floor division, and only number that would remain over here, that would be 1. Again, the iteration would happen because we have given the value, because inside the while loop, we have given the condition that while number is not equal to 0. So again, this iteration will happen, and what would happen in this case, 1 would be the remainder over here. Again, to the reverse will be multiplied by 10. So reverse is 32 right now, so it will become 320 plus 1, which would be 321, right? So this is what we want to obtain in our reverse, and this time from the number 1 will be eliminated and the loop will stop, because now this number will be equal to 0, and in the condition we have given that while the number is not equal to 0, till then we have to execute it. As soon as it will be equal to 0, we will stop executing it, and now it will become 321. That means inside the reverse we will be obtaining value 321, which is the reverse of 1, 2 and 3. So this is how we will be obtaining it, by using the while loop. Let's have a look on how we can write this code inside our Python. So using while loop, for that what we will be doing, we will be creating a variable called as reverse is equals to 0. For that, first of all, we need to create a number as well. For number, if you want, you can take the user input. So I'll be taking the user input and integers input, enter a number here. Once we have written a number here, we will be using our while loop, that while number is not equal to 0, while number is not equal to 0, in that condition, what do we need to do? We need to first obtain the last digit. For last digit, I'll be creating a variable called as digit. Digit is equals to number modus 10. And after that, in the reverse, we will be adding this digit by multiplying it by 10. So reverse multiplied by 10 plus the digit Once we are done with this, to eliminate the last digit from our number, we will be writing number is equals to number floor division 10, and this is how we will be obtaining the reverse of the number. So lastly, we will print the reverse of the given number is, I'll put a comma over here and we will be writing REV. Now let's run and see what output we will get over here. So suppose I have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the output would be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That means we are obtaining the reverse over here by a very simple method. Again, if I run it and write over here, let's say 7, 8, 6. Then the output would be 6, 8 and 7. That means our program is working perfectly fine over here. This is our method number 1. I hope this method is clear to you. Let's move ahead to our method number 2, that is with the help of slicing. So let's have a look on how it can be done. For slicing, first of all, we need to again take the user input as a number. That number is equals to integer input. Enter a number here. Once we have taken the input from the user, what we will be doing with this number, we will be applying the method of slicing. After we have taken the input from the user, we will be writing print, and we will write here the reverse of the number is, and I'll put a comma, and I will convert this number into a string, because we cannot apply the string method, that means the slicing method, over here directly on a number because it is an integer. So we need to first convert it into a string. So I'll be writing str and convert this number into a string. Then we will be slicing it. For slicing, we will be writing colon minus 1. Now what is this colon minus 1 is indicating over here? This colon means the default is the starting value, because we don't know that how long is the number, so we don't know what is the starting value. Also we don't know what is the ending value. So it might start at number 0, but we don't know what is the ending value. The length of the number could be 3, 4, 5, 6. It could be anything because we are taking the input from the user. So I am giving the starting value as default, that is colon. Ending value is default, that is again colon. And this step in between, the step between each number should be of minus 1. That means we are going all the way reverse. So for reverse, we are writing minus 1. So all we have done over here is taken the input from the user as a number in integers. After that, we need to write the reverse of the number is, first of all, because we have taken the input as an integer, we need to first convert it into a string. After we have converted it into a string, we can apply the method of slicing, where we can obtain the number by writing colon minus 1. That means colon are indicating the default value and minus 1 is indicating that we are going reverse inside it. Also, let's run this first of all, and if I write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it would give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Also, there could be one more thing that could be done, that is, if you remove the string from here and you remove the integer from here, that means you don't only take the input in integer. If you directly take it in string and write here, enter a number here, you can directly take the input in string also, or if you want, you can take it in integer and write string over here. So choice is totally up to you. In that case, you don't have to write number in this way. You can simply write it in this way, and if I run it, I'll get the output, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll get the output 6, 5, 4, 3. That means in both the ways program is working. In our first method, we have seen the while loop, and in our second method, we have seen the use of slicing. In slicing also, there are two types. One is you can take the input in the integer and then convert it into a string while printing it. Other method is you can take the input in string and then directly apply the string method, that is the slicing. And in this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to compute a power of a number. So suppose if we have given a base number and we have given an exponent number, how we will find a power of a number in Python, we need to see that in this program. We will be seeing that in this video. This could be obtained in our Python by 4 methods. Our first method would be while using the while loop. Second method would be with using the for loop. Third method would be using the power function, and our fourth method would be by using our exponentiation operator. So we'll be looking at all the 4 methods one by one. First of all, let's talk about how we will be doing it with the while loop. For using the while loop, first of all, we need a base number and we need an exponent number. So we will be asking for a base number, that base is equals to, we'll be asking in integers that input, enter a base number here. And for the exponent, we will be writing int input, enter exponent here. Once we have written the exponent and the base number, now how while loop will work. Right now our exponent is what? Let's say the base number is 2 and the exponent is 3. So till our exponent is not equal to 0, we need to iterate. So we will be writing while exponent is not equal to 0. while our exponent is not equal to 0, till then we need to iterate. And what do we need to iterate is very simple. We need to multiply the result. We will be creating a variable called as result, whose value will be equal to 1. Why we are putting it 1 and not 0? Because if we will write 0 over here and if we will multiply any number with this result, that number will also become 0. That's why we will be writing 1 over here. So what we will be doing, while the exponent is not equal to 0, our result would be equal to result multiply by base number. That means result is, let's say, 1. The base number is, let's say, 2. So while the exponent is not equal to 0, result will be multiplied by 2. That means 1 will be multiplied by 2. Now the result will be equal to 2. Again the iteration will happen, and again this number 4 will be multiplied by 2, which will give us 8. And how the exponent will become 0 over here is very simple, that after every iteration we will be removing 1 from here. So exponent minus is equal to 1. Minus is equal to means exponent is equals to exponent minus 1. From exponent we will every time reduce minus 1. We will suppose the exponent is 3. So after first iteration it will become 2. After second iteration it will become 1. And after third iteration it will become 0. And then our condition will be satisfied over here, that while exponent is not equal to 0. While exponent is not equal to 0, till that condition it will iterate. For example, even if I write this logic over here, let's say our base number is 4 and our exponent is equal to 3. Okay. Now what do we need to iterate is that while we have given the condition while 3 is not equal to 0. Okay. That means this exponent is not equal to 0. Till that condition, what we need to do, we have created a variable called as result. So I'm just writing res as of now. So result will be equal to result's value is 1. So 1 multiplied by 4, and from the exponent 1 will be reduced. So exponent is 3. So 3 is equals to 3 minus 1. So now this 3 will become what? So let's write it as exponent. So exponent will be 3 minus 1. So after this iteration, what would happen? This 3 will become 2. Okay, the exponent will become 2. So while exponent is not equal to 0, again now result is what? Result's value is 4. So 4, that means results value is what? 4. 4 multiplied by 4, and exponent this time from 2 we will subtract 1. So exp will become 2 minus 1. That would be again 1. And again the iteration will happen, and again here instead of 3 it would be 1. And while 1 is not equal to 0, now 4 times 4 is 8. So instead of 1, there would be 8 multiplied by 4, and instead of 3, here it would be 1. So 1 minus 1 will become 0, and the condition will not satisfy now. So 8 times 4 would be 32, and we will get the output and result as 32, and we will get that base is 4 and exponent is 3, and the result over here would be 32. In this way we will get the result. Now let's write this over here. Now let's run this over here. Before running we need to also write down the result, so let's print it as well. So print the power or the computed value is, and we will be writing comma result. Let's run and see what output we will get. So once I run it, here it's asking me for a base number. So base is 4 and its power is, let's say, 3. So output should be 32 according to the logic that we have used, and it's 64. So 4 times 4 is 16 and 16 times 4 is 64, which is correct. We actually calculated it wrong. In over here, instead of multiplying 4 times 4 as 16, I multiplied it 4 times 2. That would be 8. So it should be 16 over here and not 4. So yeah, 16 times 4 is 64. That means the output over here should also be 64. But the logic is still the same, okay? So this was our first method with using the while loop, where we have created base, we have created the exponent, the result is 1. While exponent is not equal to 0, we need to multiply this result with our base number, and every time from our exponent one number will be reduced. Once it will become 0, the while loop will stop, and here we will get the output. This was our solution number 1. Now let's move ahead to our solution number 2, that is using the for loop. For for loop, again we need the exponent and the base number. So I'll just copy this data from here and I'll just paste it here. Let's just comment it. For that I'll be removing the comments. Once I have removed the comments, again I'll be creating a variable called as result. Result's value is 1. Now I'll be using a for loop, that for I in range. Now every time we will be iterating inside the exponent. Suppose exponent is, let's say, 3. So it will be 3, then 2, then 1, and then 0. So it would go in this way. So exponent, whatever the exponent is, we'll be putting that as a starting value. Ending value would be 0. And because we are going 3, suppose it's 3. So we will be going 3, 2, 1, and then 0. So for that we will be writing -1 as the step in between. And every time to the result, the base number will be multiplied. So result is equals to result multiplied by base number. Once we are done with this, we will again write the print statement, and we will write that the computed value is, comma, result. Let's run and see what output we will get. So again, I'll be using the same number for the base and the power. So base number is 4 and the power is 3. I should get the output 64 and the output is 64. So how it is working, let me explain it to you again. So here, suppose if our exponent is 3. So the starting value over here would be 3, then 2, then 1, and on 0 it would stop over here. That means on 1 only it would stop. 0 means, suppose if I would have written 1 over here, it would have stopped on 0. But because to the ending value we add +1, so we cannot write 1 over here, we will be writing 0. So 3, 2, 1, it will iterate 3, 2, 1, and every time 1 will be reduced. That's why we have written -1 over here. And every time after each iteration, what would happen to the result, we will be multiplying the base. So suppose if the exponent is 3, so 3 times this result will be multiplied with our base number. So this was our method number 2, that means solution number 2, where we use the for loop. Let's move ahead and see our method number 3. Let's move ahead and see our solution number 3, which is using the power function. For using the power function, again I'm taking the base as, let's say this time I'm just creating the predefined variable. So base as 4 and our power, or we can call it as exponent, is equal to 3. Okay. For using the power function, all we need to do is create a variable. So I'll be creating a variable called as x. X is equals to, we need to write power. In the power, we need to give 2 parameters. Our first parameter would be the base number, and the second parameter would be the exponent number. So whatever is the first parameter, that and the exponent would go as the raised to the power. Okay. So base is, let's say 4, then 4 raised to the power 3 would be the power. Okay. And this would compute it. So inside this, I'll be writing print the computed value is, I'll put a comma and write x. So if I run it, I'll be getting the computed value is 64 directly, because I have not taken the user input, so it has only directly computed it for me. So power over here takes 2 parameters. First is the base number and second is the exponent number. This was our solution number 3, very simple, that we only need to use the power function. Now let's move ahead to our solution number 4, where you will be using the exponentiation operator. For using the exponentiation, again we need the base number, that is equals to 4, and the exponent number, that is equals to 3. Now what do we need to do over here is, to use the exponentiation method, we have very simple thing that we just need to write over here. You can create a variable as well. Suppose you are creating a variable here, you can write base. For the exponentiation operator, we use double star. Double star means double asterisk symbol over here. Double asterisk symbol denotes the exponentiation. That means base raised to the power exponent. So we'll be writing exponent, and then we will print x. Let's run and see what output we will get. Once we will run it, we'll get the output 64. That means our program is working perfectly fine. So I hope guys all the 4 methods are clear to you. In our first method we use the while loop. In our second method we use the for loop. In our third method we have used the power function. And lastly we have used the exponentiation operator, where we only need to use the asterisk, double asterisk symbol in between, which is our exponentiation operator. And in this video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to count the number of digits that are present inside a number. So suppose guys, if you have a number, let's say 1, 2, 3, and if you want to count how many numbers are there, then obviously we know that there are 3 digits over here. But how we can do it with Python? In our Python, there are 2 methods in which we can do it. Our first method would be using the while loop, and our second method would be using the length function. We'll be seeing both the methods one by one. First of all, let's talk about our method number 1, that is using the while loop. Let's first understand the logic that we are going to use, and then we will be writing the program on it. So we need to count digits using while loop. How it can be done is very simple. Suppose for example we have a number. Our number is equals to, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And we clearly know that right now it is 4 digits. Okay. And we will be creating a variable called as count, whose value would be equal to 0. But how to do it with Python is very simple. We will be writing a loop over here, that while this number over here, while this number is not equal to 0. While number is not equal to 0, in that condition, what we need to do? We need to remove one number from here and increase the count by 1. So what we will be doing, first of all, we will increase the count over here. So what we will be doing after this, we will be removing one digit from here and increase the count by 1. So for removing one digit from here, we will be using the method of floor division. The floor division method says over here that suppose if I write 1, 2, 3 and 4 and divide it by 10, the quotient that I would get would be 1, 2 and 3. How it is possible? Let's have a look. So suppose I would have written, so 10 1 times is 10, it would become 23. 10 2 times is 20, it would become 34. 10 3 times is 30, and the remainder is 4. After that, we don't take a decimal value, so what we will get? We'll get 123 and the 4 will be removed. Again, if I'll divide 123 by 10, then I will get the output 12. And again, when I will divide 12 by 10, I'll get the output 1. And again, when I will divide, I'll get the output as 0. So what would happen over here is we will be writing number is equals to number floor division 10, and every time after this, after one number is removed, the count will increase by plus 1. So count is equals to count plus 1. And lastly, what we will be doing, we will be printing this count in the end once our number is equal to 0, because at the end it will become 0, and as soon as it will become 0, the loop will stop. We will come out of the loop and we will print the count. So now let's write this program in our Python. So here I need a number. Number is equal to, you can take the input from the user as well. So I'll be writing int input. That means we'll be taking the input in the integers. And then we will be writing enter a number here. Once the user has written a number over here, what we need to do is we need to write count. We need to create a variable called as count. Count is equals to 0 right now. Then we will be creating the while loop, that while number is not equal to 0. In that condition, what should happen? Every time from this number, one digit should be eliminated. To eliminate the digit, we will be using the method of floor division. That number is equals to number floor division by 10. And after that, every time count will increase by plus 1. So count is equals to count plus 1. And lastly, when we will come out of the loop and we will print the number of digits are, and I'll put a comma and I'll write count. So let's run and see what output we will get here. So as soon as I run it, it asks me for a number. Let's write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know there are 7 numbers. So as soon as I press the enter, I get the output. The number of the digits are 7. Again, let's run it and let's see what output we'll get this time. Suppose if I'll write 98, if I run it, I'll get the output 2 over here. That means our program is working perfectly fine. So guys, this was our method number 1 where we use the while loop. Let's have a look on our second solution where we will be using the length function. For using the length function, again we will be taking the input as a number, and if you want to take the input from the user, you can take the input as well, or you can write any number over here. So suppose I'm writing 1 to 3, or we can write 3 to 1. Okay, we clearly know that there are 3 digits right now, but how we will be finding it? We will be finding it with the help of the length function. So what we will be doing, we will be applying the length method, but length method can only be applied on a string, on a list, or these kinds of data types. We cannot directly apply the length method on a number. So we need to first convert it into a string. For that we will be writing print, so str of this number, so string, this number will be converted into a string, and then we will be finding its length. So here again I'll put it inside the parentheses. So length of string of number, that means this number will be first converted into a string and then we will be finding its length. So if I run it, I'll get the output 3. If I would have written over here 0 as well and I would have run it, so I would get the output 4 in that case. That means our program is working perfectly fine. And if you want to add a string over here, you can add a string as well. That suppose you need to write the number of digits are, and I'll put a comma in between, and if you want to run it now and see the output again, then the output would be the number of digits are 4. So I hope guys that both the methods over here are clear to you. In our first method we use the while loop, and in our second method we use the length function by converting our number into a string and then using our length function to it. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to check if two strings are anagram or not. Guys, first of all, we need to understand that what is the meaning of the word anagram. Anagram over here means that these two strings that we have, suppose we have taken the user input from the user, and the two strings that we have, their length should be equal, and once we sort it, whatever the value is coming, that should be equal to each other. So let's first understand the logic, and then we will be moving ahead with the program. So here we are going to check anagram. To check anagram, two conditions should be there. Suppose we have two words. Let's say I have a word cake and I have a word bake. Okay. Now what do I need to check over here is, first of all, I need to check if the length of both the words are equal. So here we have length of this as 4 and length of this again as 4. Okay, that means there are 4 letters here, and again there are 4 letters in both the words. Okay. Now this condition is satisfied. That first condition is that the length of both the words should be equal, and our second condition is that if you sort it, once we sort it, suppose if I sort it in ascending order, so sorted value of cake would be A, C, E, K, and sorted value of bake is A, B, E, K. Now if you match both of them, the word C and B are not similar. That means what? That means this is not anagram. So here what should happen, once you arrange them in ascending order, if they match each other, then that string is anagram. That means those two words are anagram. For example, if I have the word cat and act, okay, the length of this is equal to this. That means there are 3 letters in cat and 3 letters in act. But if I arrange them in ascending order, for ascending order of cat it will be A, C, T, and the ascending order of this one would be again A, C, and T. So that means they both are equal to each other. That means these two strings over here are anagram. Okay. So this is only we need to find. How to do it in Python, let's have a look. To check anagram, first of all, I'll write on the top that print program to check anagram. Okay, first of all, to check anagram, we need two strings. So we will be creating two strings over here. I'll be creating A1 is equals to input, and I'll be taking the input from the user, that enter a word here, and A2 is equals to input, enter another word here. Once a user has entered a word over here, what we will do, we will find the length of it, because what our first condition is that the length of both of these words should be equal. So we will be giving a conditional statement that if length of A1, to find the length we use the len function, that if the length of A1 is equal to length of A2, okay. So first condition over here is that if length of A1 is equal to length of A2, in that condition what we will check, we will sort both of them and check if the sorted values are equal or not. So for that we will be creating a variable. So I'll be calling it A1 sorted. It's just a variable. For sorting it, we will be writing the sort function, that we will be writing sorted A1 and A2 underscore sorted is equals to sorted A2. That means the values will be sorted and they will be arranged in the ascending order. If you want to see, so let me just put it inside a comment, and if I write any string over here, suppose if I write A is equals to hello, and if I write A is equals to sorted A, and then if I print A, then let's see what output we will get. So here we will get EHLLO. That means a list has been created of 5 alphabets which have been arranged in the ascending order. This is how our sorted function works. Let me just remove it from here now, and let's just comment it. So now, once we have sorted both the values, both have been arranged in the ascending order in a format of a list. Now what we need to do, we need to check that if A1 sorted is equal to A2 sorted, in that condition we need to print that it is anagram. That means if the length of both the strings are equal to each other, and secondly once you sort it, the values of both of them are equal to each other, in that case it is an anagram. Else we will print it is not anagram. Once we have done this, what we will be doing next, because we have given the condition for this one, that we have written if and else for this one, but what if for this one, the else condition for this one. So the else condition, suppose if the length is not equal in the first place, in that condition we will be writing else print it is not an anagram. That means if the length is not equal, in that case its else is here at the bottom, and if they are not sorted, its else is inside over here. So if both the cases are not satisfied, in both the cases it will print it is not an anagram. Let's run and see if it is working or not. So if I write, let's say let me just run it again. So if I say, let's say write, and here I'll write bike, the number of letters in both of them are equal, but if you sort it, the words won't be equal because here L is coming and here B is coming. So it is not an anagram. While at the same time, if we write act and cat, in that case, it would say it is an anagram. That means our program is working perfectly fine, right? So I hope that the method is clear over here, that first of all, we need to take the inputs from the user. After that, we need to check if the length is equal or not. If they are equal, then we have to sort it and check if the sorted values are equal or not. If they are not equal, we will print it is not an anagram. And if the length is also not equal, we will be printing it is not an anagram. And lastly, we will run and see if it is working or not. In this video, we will learn how to write a program in Python that will allow us to capitalize the first letter of a string. So suppose if we have a word all written in lower cases or all written in upper cases as well, if we want to capitalize only first word and rest of the word should be the small letters, in that case how it can be done in Python, we will be looking at that in this session. We'll be looking at that in this video. First of all, talking about the different methods that we have in our Python to do this problem is, our first solution is with the help of using slicing and the dot upper function. So how we can do it in Python is very simple. There are two methods in Python in which we can do it. Our first method says that we will be using the concepts of slicing along with the upper function, and second method says we will be using the dot capitalize function to do it. So let's see both of them one by one. First of all, let's talk about our solution number 1. For our solution number 1, first of all, we need a string. So let's say I'm taking a string A is equals to, inside this string I'm writing WsCube tech. Okay, all in lower cases. Now what do we need to do is, suppose if I print it right now, if I print A over here, I'll get the output WsCube tech like this. Now what do I need to do over here is that I need to capitalize this first letter. To capitalize this first letter, we will be using the concept of slicing plus dot upper method. How we will be using the concept of slicing, let's have a look on that. So this is our string WsCube tech, right? Now if I talk about the method of slicing, the method of slicing says that we can slice this string with the help of our indexing methods. How indexing work? The W is on number 0, S on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. This is how the slicing method works, that it starts from 0 and every letter is indicated by a number over here. Okay, what do I need to do? I need to convert this letter into an uppercase. To convert this letter in uppercase, what we will be doing, suppose the name of this string is A, right? So we will be writing A of index 0, that means A index 0, that means whatever letter is there on index 0, that needs to be converted into an uppercase. So we will be writing dot upper for the first letter that is on number 0, and the rest of the string will remain small. So plus we will be writing the rest of the string, so A, and for rest of the string starts from number 1 and goes up to the end, so we'll be writing 1 and colon. The colon over here defines that it is going up to the end. We don't need to write 9 or 10 over here. We can just directly write the default value colon. If you write colon over here, that means you don't need to define at which letter it will end. It will end at the end of the string. This is the method that we will be applying over here. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So here, if I write print A and in the square brackets I'll write 0, that means the letter on 0 index should be converted into the uppercase, plus the remaining of the letters should be written like that. So remaining of the letters would be A, and in the square brackets we will be passing 1 and colon. This is defining what? This is defining the rest of the letters that are starting from S to H. Now let's run and see what output we are getting. So as soon as I run it, you can now see in our second word over here, the first letter has been converted into an uppercase. That means we have W in the uppercase and the rest of the string is in lowercase. So guys, this was our method number 1, where we used the concept of slicing plus we have used the dot upper method. Moving ahead, now let's talk about our solution number 2, which is using the capitalize method. Now dot capitalize is a very simple method over here. All you need to do is first of all create a string. So I'll again create a string called as WsCube tech. First of all, let's print this. So as soon as I print it, like I'll write print A and run it. So as soon as I print it and run it, I'll get the output WsCube tech. Now if I need to capitalize the first letter in our string methods, we have a very simple method that is called as capitalize. So we will be writing print A dot capitalize. And as soon as I run it, I'll be getting output that in our second word, the first letter over here has been capitalized by using the capitalize method. So I hope guys that both the methods over here are clear to you. In our first method we use the concept of slicing and so I hope guys that both the methods over here are clear to you. In our first method we have used the concepts of slicing along with the upper, and in our second solution we have used the dot capitalize method. In this video we will learn how to write a program in Python that will allow us to create a countdown timer. Now guys, what is countdown timer? Suppose if you have seen in your mobile phones, you have seen a stopwatch, right? That you give some seconds and it gives you a countdown. That means suppose you have given a second, 5 seconds over there and it gives you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Or if you have set it for 1 minute, it would give you 60, 59, 58, 57, and this is how it goes on up to the 0. So here also in Python, we will be creating such kind of a program. How it can be created, we will be looking at that in this video. Let's have a look on how it can be created. To create this program, we will be using the time module. So first of all, we need to use import time. So I'll be writing import time over here to use the time module. Now here what I need to do, I need to create a function called as def countdown. In our countdown, we will be passing the seconds, that how many seconds countdown it should be. Like the countdown should be of how many seconds, right? After this, what we need to do, we need to create a while loop over here, because obviously it's a countdown. So every time after 1 second, the loop will iterate again, right? So we'll be writing while seconds. What we need to do over here is we need to create two variables. We will be counting the value in the minutes and in the seconds. So I'm creating two variables, minutes, comma, seconds. So minutes and seconds is equals to, we will be applying the method of division mode over here. So we'll be writing division mode. Division mode is a function in Python that gives you two things. We will be passing two parameters. The first parameter would be second and the second parameter would be 60, because there are 60 seconds in total. So now division mode, what does division mode gives us? Division mode gives us two values over here. The first value is the floor division and the second value is the modulus. Let's understand this logic first, then we will move ahead with our program. So here I have written division mode, and inside that I have passed, let's say I have 120 seconds. I have put a timer of 120 seconds, and here mode and here number of second is next value is 60, right? The seconds over here are 120 and the next value is 60. Now what do I need to do is, I will be doing it in this way, that I will be writing 120 and I will be dividing it with 60. So 60 2 times is 120, the remainder is 0. So in this way, what output we will get, the floor division over here would be this and the remainder over here would be 0. That means it will be 2 minutes. Similarly, if after 1 second, how much the value would be? After 1 second, the value would be 119. So if I divide 119 by 60, in that case, what would happen? 61 times is 60 over here and the value would be 59. That means the remainder would be 59. So in that case, what would happen here? 1 minute 59 seconds would come. Similarly, for the next iteration, it will be 118. For 118, it would be 1 minute and 58 seconds. In this way, we will be receiving the output. That first of all, we will be receiving the floor division, the value of the floor division. And in the second one, we will be receiving the remainder over here. So this is how our division mode would work. Now let's apply this method in our program. So once we have done it, I'll be creating a variable called as time format, because I will be formatting the values of minutes and seconds over here. And in the strings, I will be writing colon 2D. Now what is colon 2D over here is, that means I want this value up to 2 decimal places. Again, I'll be putting a colon, because when you display the time over here, you display it in this way, that between the values, between the first value and between the second value, there is a colon in between. So this is the colon that we are using right now. And again, I'll be putting the braces for the second value. The second value is the remainder. For remainder, again, we will be taking a colon and 2D. 2D is again the 2 decimal places. Once we are done it, we will be writing dot format. Format inside what? Minutes and seconds. So I'll be writing minutes, comma, seconds. So this value will be formatted with minutes and seconds. Once we are done with this, we will print time format. After printing time format, what should happen over here is, there should be a gap of 1 second after next iteration. For next iteration, we will be giving a time dot sleep of 1 second, that after every iteration, like right now if it is 2 minutes, then after 1 second it will be 1 minute 59 seconds, then again after 1 second it will be 1 minute 58 seconds. So here the time dot sleep would be of 1 second, and every time the seconds will be reduced by -1. So sec is equals to sec minus 1. That means every time the seconds over here will be reduced by 1. Lastly, we will print, once this iteration will stop, we will print stop. And let's call this countdown timer. So count down, and let me just give the value over here. So you can, let's see, I'm giving right now the value of 5. Okay. So if I run this, I'll get the output 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lastly stop. In this way I'm getting the output. Suppose if I would have given 120 seconds. In that case it would have given me 2 minutes, 1 minute 59, 1 minute 58, 1 minute 57, 56, 55, 54, and there is a sleep of 1 second every time. This is how it will be printing it for us. So this is how we have created our countdown timer. The method is very simple over here. First of all, we need to import the time. Then we need to create a function called as countdown. Inside that we need to pass a parameter called as seconds. We need to create a while loop over here so that it iterates up to the seconds are not 0. Once they become 0, in that case what we need to do is we need to create two variables. Once it becomes 0, what it will do, it will stop the countdown. Now next, if it is not 0, till then what it needs to do is we need to create two variables over here, that is minutes, comma, seconds, that is equals to division mode over here. Division mode means that we will be getting two values from this division mode. We will be passing two parameters. The first parameter is the number that we have to divide, and the second parameter is the number with which we have to divide it. And we'll be getting the output in two values. That means the first value would be the floor division and the second value over here would be our remainder. Once we are done with this, we will do the formatting by 2 decimal places. Once we have formatted, we will print the time, give a sleep of 1 second because it's a countdown timer. So after every second, the time should change. So we'll be giving a sleep of 1 second. And every time the number of seconds will reduce by 1. That means after every iteration, the number of seconds will reduce by 1. And in this video, we will learn how to write a program in Python that will allow us to count how many times a single character is occurring inside a string. For example, if we have a word, let's say hello, and I want to count how many times alphabet L is coming over here, then in our Python, there are two ways in which we can do it. So first method is using the for loop, and our second method is using the count function. So we'll be using both of them one by one. Let's start with our first method, that is using the for loop. Now first of all, to use a for loop, we need a string here. So I'm creating a string called as WsCube tick. Okay, once I have created this string, I need to create a character over here, that which character we are counting it for. So let's say I want to count how many times alphabet E is occurring in WsCube tick. Okay. After this, I will also be creating a variable called as count, that whose value is 0 right now. So count is 0 right now because right now we have not counted how many times alphabet E is occurring here. Now for that, what we will be doing, we will be iterating inside this WsCube tag, and we will be checking for each value that if any character matches with our alphabet over here, that is E, in that case the count will increase by 1. So what would happen over here is very simple, that for I in A, that means for I in our string WsCube tag, we need to check that if our I, that the I means that any character, let's say first of all it will iterate for W, then it will check for S, then C, then U, then B, then E. It will check for each character over here, and it will check that if I, that means any character, matches over here with our character, that is E. In that condition we will increase the count. So count will be increased by +1. So count is equals to count +1. And lastly we will print our count. So let's understand the logic first, then we will run the program. So logic over here is very simple. If we have a string WsCube tick, we will be iterating for each letter over here, and we will be checking that if our character over here is E, if it matches with any of them. So we will be checking it for W. If it matches, we will be increasing the count. It's not matching, not for this one, not for this one, not for this one, not for this one, and it matches with this one. So count is right now 0. It will be then increased by +1. Now again it will check for next, again it is not there, then again we have E here, so it will increase by 1, that means the 1 will now become 2, and then it's not here, right. At the end we will be printing this count, that will be our output, that is 2. So here if I run this program, I'll be getting the output 2, that is the count of number of occurrence, how many times our character is occurring in our string. So here if you want, you can use a predefined string, or you can take the input from user as well by writing int, not in integers but simple input, because we are taking the value in the string. So input, enter a word here. Okay, once I run this now, in the output it will be asking me for a word, and I'll be writing heavy water and the goblet of fire. So I need to check in this string. So in this string, alphabet E is occurring 4 times. That is 1 time here. And our second time is over here. The third time is here. And the fourth time, where is the fourth time? Okay, 1, 2 in the 3 and 4. Okay, so 4 times it's occurring. So that means our program over here is working perfectly fine. This is our first method where we use the for loop. Now let's move ahead to our second method where we will be using the count function. Our second method over here is very simple. All you need to do is first create a variable. Inside that you will pass the string. Suppose I'm writing WsCube text and I want to create a character over here. So I'll be creating a variable called as character. Inside I'm passing W. I want to count how many times the alphabet W is occurring. For that all I need to do is write print a dot count. That means in our A string we have to count. What do we need to count? We need to count our character. So we will be passing this, and now if I run it, it will give me the output 1 because 1 time W is occurring in our string. So I hope guys that the method over here is clear to you. First of all, you need to create a string. After that, you need to create a variable called as character, and inside this we will pass the character which we want to count. And if you don't want to do the step, you can just directly skip it, and inside the count you can directly write any letter. Let's say you are counting it for C. So it will give us the output. It needs to be written inside the double quotations. Now again, if I run it, it will give me the output that C is occurring 2 times, once in cube and once in tech over here. Similarly, if I write it for E, it will give me again 2 times, that 2 times it's occurring. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to remove the duplicate elements from the list. Let's say if we have multiple elements inside it, for example, if we have strings or if we have numbers or even the floating numbers, and we want to remove the duplicate elements from that list, then how it can be done in Python, we will see in this program. For that, we will be using the set methods over here. Set is a data type in our Python that allows us to only display the unique elements from a list. So for example, if I have a set S is equals to, inside this I'm adding some elements. A set is kept inside the curly braces and I'll be writing 1, 3, 5, 6, and I'm just saying that writing the random numbers. And 6, 3, 4, 6. Okay. So you can see that number 6 is over here coming 3 times, and number 4 over here is coming 2 times, and number 3 over here is coming again 1, 2 and 3 times. Okay, but if I print this set over here, if I write print S, it will only give me the unique elements. Now how it will be giving me unique elements? You can see we were having 3 times 6. Now it is only 1 time. We were having 3 times, we are only having it 1 time. We are having 4 over here 2 times, but here we are only having it 1 time. That means sets is a method by which you can remove the duplicate elements. Now what we need to do, we need to remove the duplicate elements from the list. So instead of set, let's create a list over here. So L is equals to, I'll be passing some duplicate elements over here. So these are some of the elements. So now how to do it with the list is very simple. You can first convert it into a set and then convert it back again to a list. For that, first of all, let's just print the list. So if I write print L and run it, I'll get the output in this way. Now I will be creating a variable called as X. Inside the X, I will be writing list. First of all, let's convert it into a set. To convert it into a set, I will be writing set L. Now let's print. So here we will print X and let's see what output we will get. As soon as I run it, I'll get the output 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. That means we have removed the duplicate elements and we have obtained all the unique values over here. But this is in the format of a set and we want to obtain it in the format of a list. For that, what we can do over here is before set, we can pass list. And over here, we will be writing set inside it. So that means the list is first converted into set to remove the unique elements and then it is again converted back to a list. Now, if I run it, I'll get the output in a format of a list over here. So in this way, what we have done, we have removed all the duplicate elements from the here and we have obtained all the unique elements. But what if we have 2 lists over here? So suppose if I have another list called as A. Okay, like this. And let me just put this data inside the comments. Now if we have 2 lists and we want to merge them and plus we need to remove the duplicate elements, how it can be done is very simple. That we will print set L. So here we will be writing set L symmetric difference with set A. That means what it would give us, it would give us all the elements that are not common over here. That means we have 1 in this one and 1 again over here. But 1 is not common in both of them. So suppose if I run it, I'll be getting 1 89 and 31. So 1 is the only number that is there in our first list but is not there in our second list. Okay, 89 is the only number that is there in our second list and not there in our first list, and 31 is the only number that is there in our second list but not in our first list. Other rest of the elements are there in both of the lists, so we can create a set over here, and to convert it into a list we can write list in front of it and put it inside the parentheses. So now if I run it, I'll get the output inside the list. So guys, if you have two lists and then you want to remove the duplicate elements, you can use the set methods along with the symmetric difference. Symmetric difference gives us all the elements that are not duplicate in both the list over here and then convert it into a list. And if you have only single list, in that case you can just write set in front of it and convert it back again into a list. वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं कि पाइथन के अंदर हम कैसे कोई प्रोग्राम लिखें जो कि हमें कन्वर्ट करके देगा बाइट्स को स्ट्रिंग के अंदर। तो गाइस, बाइट्स को स्ट्रिंग में कन्वर्ट करने का बहुत ही सिंपल सा मेथड है कि हमें यहाँ पे क्या करना होता है, इसको डिकोड करना होता है UTF-8 के अंदर, यानी कि यहाँ पे हमारे पास यूनिकोड ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन फॉर्मेट होता है 8 बिट वाला, तो उसके अंदर हमें इसको क्या करना होता है, डिकोड करना होता है। तो यहाँ पे हमें क्या करना होगा, सिंपली हमें एक स्ट्रिंग के अंदर बाइट्स की वैल्यू लेनी होगी, लगाना होगा डिकोड का मेथड अलॉन्ग विद UTF-8 और वो हमें डिकोड करके दे देगा किसको, बाइट को स्ट्रिंग के अंदर। चलिए देखते हैं इसको कैसे किया जा सकता है। So guys, बाइट को स्ट्रिंग में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए सिंपली आपको यहाँ पे प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट लिखना है यहाँ पे सिंगल कोटेशंस को। सिंगल कोटेशंस के अंदर अब हमें यहाँ पे क्या लिखना है, सिंगल कोटेशंस के बाहर एक्चुअली हमें यहाँ पे बी लिखना है। बी का मतलब यहाँ पे क्या है, हमारे पास बाइट्स के अंदर वैल्यू है। तो बाइट्स के अंदर की आप वैल्यू कहाँ से लेके आए, तो हमारे पास थ्रू आउट द इंटरनेट काफी सारा डेटा पड़ा हुआ है, तो वहीं से हमें लेके आना है। तो मैं यहाँ पे क्रोम को ओपन कर लेती हूँ एंड क्रोम के अंदर मैंने यहाँ पे खोली है इमोजी यूनिकोड टेबल्स। तो यहाँ पे आप कोई भी इमोटिकन यहाँ पे यूज कर सकते हैं। तो यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे कि बाइट्स में हमारे पास वैल्यू है, हमारे पास यूनिकोड है, बाइट्स है एंड उसका डिस्क्रिप्शन है। तो हमें यहाँ पे बाइट्स की वैल्यू चाहिए, यानी UTF-8 में जो वैल्यू है हमारे पास ये चाहिए। तो अब मैं यहाँ पे स्माइलिंग इमोजी ले लेती हूँ, तो यहाँ पे कॉपी कर लेते हैं, वापस से पाइथन में चलते हैं। यहाँ पे जैसे हमने कुछ लिख दिया दैट वेलकम टू WsCube एंड इसके बाद मैं ये सेम डेटा को पेस्ट कर देती हूँ। यहाँ पे लास्ट में लगाना है डॉट डिकोड। डिकोड के अंदर हम डबल कोटेशंस के अंदर पास करेंगे UTF-8, यानी कि UTF-8 की वैल्यू है, हमें इसको कन्वर्ट करना है स्ट्रिंग के अंदर। अब अगर इसको यहाँ पे मैं रन करवाती हूँ तो आप देखेंगे हमारे पास यहाँ पे वेलकम टू WsCube आ गया और बाइट्स जो है, बाइट्स के अंदर जो हमारे पास वैल्यू थी वो यहाँ पे कन्वर्ट हो चुकी है, यानी कि यहाँ पे एक इमोटिकन क्रिएट हो चुका है। तो जरूरी नहीं है आप यहाँ पे इमोटिकन यूज करें, अगर आपको कोई सिंबल यूज करना है, इधर आपको यहाँ पे लेटर्स यूज करने, नंबर्स यूज करने, कुछ भी यूज करना है, तो उसकी बाइट्स की वैल्यू आपको निकालनी है। सिंपली यहाँ पे आगे लिखना है बी के बाद हमें यहाँ पे एक स्ट्रिंग पास करनी है, उसके अंदर हमें हमारा डेटा लिखना है, लास्टली लगाना है यहाँ पे डॉट डिकोड का मेथड है, अंदर पास कर देना है UTF-8। अगर मुझे यहाँ पे कोई और इमोटिकन को यूज करना है तो हम यहाँ पे सिंपली कोई और इमोटिकन भी यूज कर सकते हैं। सपोज मुझे ये इमोटिकन यूज करना है एंड वापस मैं पाइथन में जाती हूँ, इस वैल्यू को हम यहाँ से हटा देंगे या फिर अलॉन्ग विद इस वैल्यू को भी हम यहाँ पे पुट कर सकते हैं। एंड अब अगर मैं इसको यहाँ पे रन करवाती हूँ तो इस तरह से हमारे पास यहाँ पे वैल्यू आ जाएगी। सो आई होप गाइस कि यहाँ पे क्लियर होगा कि कैसे हम बाइट्स को स्ट्रिंग के अंदर कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं। यहाँ पे नंबर्स, लेटर्स, नेम्स के लिए भी हम यहाँ पे सेम ही मेथड यूज करने वाले हैं। In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to randomly obtain any element from a list. So guys, in our Python, what are lists? Lists are something that are kept inside the square brackets. Each element inside the list is separated by a comma and you can use multiple data types inside the list. Now what do we need to do over here is we need to randomly get any element from the list. To do this in Python, we have two methods. We will be using two modules over here. The first method is with using the random module and our second method is using the secret module. So we'll be talking about both the modules one by one, starting with the module number 1, that is the random module. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So as I said, we will be using the random module. To use random module, first of all, we will be using a statement called as import statement. After import, we will be importing the random module here. Now what random module would do, it would randomly choose an element. From where it would choose an element, we need to create a list over here. So I'll be creating a L list over here. Inside the list, I'll be passing some elements like 1, like A, comma 1, comma 5, comma B, comma O, comma 7. Okay, now there are 3 alphabets here and 3 numbers here. What I want to randomly obtain an element. For that, I'll be writing, suppose I'll be creating a variable called as random value. Random value would be equals to random dot choice, and from where we have to choose from our list L. So random, in our random module we have dot choice option, which allows us to choose one element from the given data. And what is our given data? L is our given data. And now if I print random value and run it, it would give me an output like this, that it would give me 5. If I run it again, it would give me 1, 1, A, 5, A, B. So you can see every time I'm getting a different output. How this is happening? Because we have used random dot choice. That means it will randomly choose between what, and we have passed the list over here. That is, the name of our list is L over here. So we have passed our list, and from that it is randomly choosing an element and printing it for us. So this was our method number 1, where we use the random module. Now talking about our method number 2, that is the secret module. Now talking about the secret module. Secret module is a module in Python that generates cryptographically strong random numbers that are used for generating, passwords, or they are used for account authentication or for the security. So these kinds of things, when you want to generate these kinds of random numbers, for that secret module is used. Now how to use the secret module? First of all, we need to import secrets. From our secret module, we will be creating a list first of all. So for the list, I'll be just copying the same list over here. Okay, once we have copy pasted this list here, I'll be writing random value, again a variable called as random value. You can give it any name, whatever name you want to give to this variable, you can give any name to it, right? After this, you'll be writing secrets dot choice. Similarly, how we had random dot choice, here we have secrets dot choice, and inside it I'll be passing the name of my list, that is L, and we will be printing random value. Let's run and see what output we'll get. So if I run it, I'll be getting 5, A, 7, B, 1. So you can see it is doing the same thing that our random module is doing. But if you want to create something for security, like if you want to obtain these elements for the purpose of security, in that case, I would suggest you use secret module. Otherwise, if you're using it for the random use, then yes, you can simply use the random module. So I hope, guys, that both the modules and the use of both the modules over here is clear to you. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to obtain a substring of a string. Now guys, what is a string? A string is everything that is closed inside the double quotations in Python. And talking about substring is the part of that string that you extract from a major string. For example, if you have a string as Harry Potter, okay, and this is your string. Now substring means what? That suppose if you want to extract Potter from it, or if you want to extract Harry from it, or you just want to extract POT of Potter from it, okay, so that is what? That is a substring. So Harry could be a substring, Potter could be a substring, pot could be a substring, even the letter H is also a substring. That means you extract anything from the major string, that is a substring. Anything that is a part of a string is called as a substring over here. Now how to extract it? To extract it, we use indexing. Now let's understand how does indexing work. Suppose if you have written Harry and Potter in this way, like you have written it in the format of a string, but I'm just writing it a little bit bigger so that you're able to understand. So Harry Potter, suppose if we have written it in this way. Now how does indexing works? That this H will be on number 0, A will be on 1, R will be on 2, the second R will be on 3, the Y will be on 4, this space over here will be on number 5, on 6 we have P, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That means in total, if you will count, there are how many elements? There are 5 plus 6, that is 11 elements, and a space. Right, that is 12 elements. But here we have 0 to 11 because it starts from 0. That's why 12 elements are counted in this way, that it starts from 0. This is how the indexing works. Now what you can do is, you can to obtain a substring over here, you can simply write the name of the string, that is string, open a square bracket, and you can write the starting value. So 3 things are required to obtain a substring, that is the starting value, the ending value. So step is not mandatory over here. Step is only mandatory when you want to give a step, like if you want to write H, then R, then Y, then P, then T, then T. then E and then R. Suppose if you want to give a space of 2 letters in between, suppose if you want to give a space of 3 letters in between, in that case step is used. And suppose if you don't want to give any space, then in that case we can completely skip the step over here. Okay, so talking about the starting value and the ending value, suppose I want to obtain Harry Potter over here. That means I just want to write Harry from Harry Potter. So for that, what I'll be doing, H is on number 0, that means the starting value is 0. I'll put a colon and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means Y is on number 4. So I won't be writing 4, but I will be writing 4 plus 1, that is 5. So to the ending value, we always add plus 1. So if it is going up to 4, we'll be writing 5. If it is going up to 5, we'll be writing 6. Suppose if we want to obtain Potter, we'll be going from 6. So I'll be writing string. This method over here where I am obtaining this substring is called as slicing. So this, again, I'll be writing string, and the starting value over here would be 6. And the ending value over here would be 11, but we'll be writing 12 so that it can go up to 11. This is how it works. Okay, now let's apply this method inside our Python and let's see how does it works. So for example, I'm taking a string A over here. Inside this, I'll be writing Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Okay. Once I have done this, suppose I want to only obtain Harry over here. For that, what I'll be doing, I'll be writing print Harry from Harry. H starts from number 0. So A, and in the square bracket, I'll be writing number 0. That is my starting value. And 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means I'll be writing 5. Because in the ending value, to the ending value, we add plus 1. So 4 plus 1 would be 5. And let's run and see what we will obtain. Let's first comment this. So let me just comment this. And first of all, let's just print A. So if I print A, that means our string, it would give me. So if I print A, that means our string. So in that case, it would give me Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. But only I want to obtain Harry. For that, I'll just do one thing, that I'll remove the comment from here. As soon as I'll remove the comment and run it, so you can now see that in our second part of the code, we have received the word Harry over here. Right. Similarly, if you want to add Potter also to it, so what we'll be doing, Harry is on number 5. That means the space is on number 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I'll be writing 12 over here. It goes up to this space because we write 11 plus 1. If we would have written 11, we would have got it till E only. But because we want it up to R, so that's why we'll be writing 12. And as soon as I run it, I'll get whole Harry Potter. Now, not just from the starting of this string, but from the between of the string. That means from the middle of the string also, you can extract a substring. How it can be done? Let's have a look. So we know that R is on number 11 and space is on number 12. Then the 13 would be A. So let's just obtain end over here. For that, I'll be writing print again A. And as I said, 11, 12, 13. The starting value is 13, colon, ending value. So 13 is A, 14 is B, N, and 15 is D, 16 is the space. So I'll be going up to 16. And if I run it, you can now see we have obtained end over here. This is how it works. Similarly, you can also work from the end as well. So from the end, that means if I talk about from the end, we can also work on the negative indexing. For example, in the terms of negative indexing, how does negative indexing work? Let's have a look on that. So for negative indexing, we again have, let's say, Harry Potter. Now our positive indexing worked in this way, that it was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the space, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now, how does negative indexing work? That if you have a huge string and you want to obtain maybe, last word. So in that case, you're not going to count all the way towards the end, right? So what you can do in that case, the last element over here is also called as -1. This one is -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. The space is -7. This one is -8, -9, -10. -11 and -12. This is how this goes. And if I want to obtain Potter, for that I'll be writing the starting value as -6 and the ending value as up to 0. Okay, so let's apply this method in our program as well. So suppose if I want to only obtain fire, in that case -1, -2, -3, -4. So -4 over here we'll be writing, and I'll be writing print A. Starting value would be -4. And ending value, suppose if we are going all the way towards the end, then we don't need to also define the ending value. We can just leave a colon. And if I run it, it would give me fire. So this is how this works. and in this video we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to return multiple values from a function. So guys, to return multiple values from a function, there is a very simple method in Python. With the two methods we can do it. Like, there are two solutions to do this problem. The first solution is with the help of using the tuples unpacking, and the second solution is using the dictionaries. So we'll be seeing both of them one by one. Let's have a look on how it can be done. First of all, using tuples unpacking is very simple. All you need to do is, first of all, because we want to return the values from a function, let's create a function here. So I'll be creating a function called as def friends. Inside this, I'm not passing any parameter, but here I'll be writing return few names, like I'll be returning Joey, comma, Phoebe, comma, Monica. Okay. Once I've returned these values, I'll just print friends. And let's run and see what output we'll get. So we'll be getting a tuple over here, that is Joey, Phoebe and Monica. Now what I need to do, I need to get these values separated, like not in the form of a tuple. So we will be using a tuple unpacking here. Tuple, and how does tuple unpacking work is very simple. You assign values, like there are three numbers of elements that are present inside it. So we will be creating three variables. For example, I'll be creating n1, comma, n2, comma, n3, which will be equal to friends. Okay, and then I will print. Let's say if I print n1 and run it, it will only give me Joey. That means now what has happened, this tuple has been unpacked and these values has been distributed in three values. That means in three variables, that is n1, n2 and n3. So if I write n1, comma, n2 and n3, for end I'll be using a string here. So I'll be writing and over here inside it instead of writing it outside. Otherwise it will treat it as an AND operator. So now let's run and see what output we'll get. So here I'll be getting the output Joey, Phoebe and Monica. If you want to give a comma over here, you can provide with a comma as well inside a string. And now if I run it, it will give me Joey, Phoebe and Monica without a tuple. Once you write the value of friends here, you'll get a tuple, and to unpack it, you need to assign it to the number of variables. The number of variables will be equal to the number of elements that are there inside the tuples. So this was our solution number 1. Moving ahead and talking about our solution number 2, where we will be using the dictionaries. So as our solution 2 says, using a dictionary, first of all, let's create a function again. So I'll be writing definition friends. That means I'll be defining a function called as friends. Over here again, I'm not going to write anything inside the parameter. I'll be writing n1, a variable called as n1. Inside n1 I'll be writing Joey, and inside n2 I'll be writing, let's say, Phoebe. Once I have written these two values, what I'll be doing, I'll be creating a dictionary. In a dictionary, what I'll be doing, I'll be writing these as the values, not as the keys but as the values. So I'll write return a dictionary. Let's say on number 1, number 1 is the key and the value to it is n1, comma, number 2 is the key and the value to it is n2. So this is how the dictionary works, that we have a key and a value pair, and in dictionaries we use a curly bracket. So we have a key as 1 and the value is n1, again the key as 2 and the value is n2. Now I'll be writing names is equals to, I'll be creating a variable and putting this friends inside it. And let's print names. So if I directly write friends, for example, if I directly print friends and run it, this is the output we are going to get. But what I need to do over here is I need to assign it to a variable so that I can only obtain the values from here. So for that, I'll be writing, so if I print names, I'll get the output. Again the same, but now names is a dictionary that has this value. Now from a dictionary, if I want to obtain only values, so here in our dictionaries we do not have a indexing for key value pairs, but we do have a indexing inside the pair. That means inside our pair, the first value is the key and the second value is the value. So here, if I talk about only this pair, if I talk about 1 and Joey, so according to our indexing, number 1 is on 0 and Joey is on number 1. Now next thing what I need to do is I'll be writing print. Okay, now understand it in this way, that if you want to receive a value of any key, you write the name of the dictionary, that is names, and then you write the name of that key. So the name of the key is 1 in our case. If suppose if it would have been, let's say, A over here, and here in this case it would have been B. So here what we would have written A instead. Okay, so if I write A and run it, I will get its value. So the value of A is Joey and the value of B is Phoebe. So what I'll be doing, I'll put a comma and write a comma over here. Again put a comma, and for obtaining Phoebe, what we'll be doing, again we'll be writing names, and in the square bracket we'll pass the next key, that is the next key is B. So I'll be writing B here, and as soon as again I run it, I'll get the output as Joey and Phoebe. So we can put a comma, or we can also write the end over here. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the output Joey and Phoebe in this way. So in this way, we can obtain multiple values from a function. So I hope guys that both the methods over here are clear to you. In our second method, what we have done is very simple. We have created a function called as friends. Inside that we have created two variables, that is Joey and Phoebe. We have returned them in a form of a dictionary where we have created A and B as the keys and their values as n1 and n2 variables. After that, we have created a variable called as names is equals to friend to set the value of this dictionary inside the names. Once we print it, we need to call both the values. To call both the values, we will be writing the name of the dictionary, that is names, and inside the square brackets, we'll be passing the name of our keys, that is A, and the name of our another key, that is B. Hence, we will receive the output as the multiple values. So I hope guys that both the methods are clear to you and you have no doubts and no questions. The link of this code is present in our description. And for more such interesting programs, stay connected guys. Thank you.